Welcome to Racing Post Live here on YouTube. Looking forward to another fantastic day of racing action. Fresh, of course, from the exploits of the two-day Dublin Racing Festival. Dave Orton deservedly taking a break today to watch his beloved Watford. So I'm your host, Danny Archer. Thanks very much for your company throughout the afternoon. Good action from across Newbury and Warwick, and potentially some final Cheltenham Festival clues with regards to likes of Grenadine, Love Envoy and more in action. John Bon, of course, the big highlight, 20-1 on now in a two-runner Kingmaker Novices Chase. Delighted they're going to be joined throughout the afternoon by first off Kate Tracey. Kate, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks, Danny. Yeah, good to be back here. Feels like I haven't been here for the longest of times, but back now, and lots of ways to play today's racing. Not really, but we'll try our best. And
congratulations, of course. So you're now on Sky Sports Racing. How was your first gig?
So much. Good. I can't remember the first half an hour, like an absolute blur, literally. But got into a rhythm then and had a lot of fun. So no, it's really good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Anti-Postman's here. Robbie Wilders. How are you, Robbie?
Thanks for using my nickname. Yeah, good mate. Yeah, I have to say this is probably the youngest studio we've ever had, isn't it?
Yeah, this is, isn't it? We're bringing down the average age.
We're all sub 30. That's got to be
second coming of RP Live.
Exactly. The next generation.
Next gen.
Lots to look forward to on the show. The 115 at Newbury is actually ongoing at the moment. McFabulous, a warm favourite for that, or looks to be toiling at the moment in running. But our first race that we're going to have a look at is the 130 at Warwick. But before that, just pointing you in the direction of a few things. First up, of course, is the Racing Post app. We'll be using the app, of course, throughout the show. It's the world's #1 horse racing app, and it just got better. Make sure you do download it for free to experience daily big name tipping and unrivaled app-only content. As you can see, that's what's coming up on today's show. The first listed action of the day is that Warwick Mares Hurdle. Love Envoy bids to cement her status as a leading Mares Hurdle runner in that. Then we've got the Denman Chase over at Newbury. The Kingmaker, as already mentioned, just a two-runner event. The Game Spirit at 3 o'clock, and then the £155,000 Betfair Hurdle. That's the feature race of the day, and a competitive one at that as well. Mark it on your screen for the 130 at Warwick. And the Racing Post Live Trophy is also here. A reminder, the scoreboard, 5 points for a winner, 3 points for a second, and 1 point for a third. Who's going to be taking this home today?
I didn't know this was a thing.
What?
I didn't know that this was a thing now. This is the first time I've seen it.
No,
No,
so
but
Dave won it
good
last
thing.
time, did he?
Cruised home by looks of things, 17. Well, Rodway tight in second, and bit of a distance back to Maddie Batchelor, just the 8 points.
That's a good idea. This is
such a good
This is an
idea.
initiative we should have been doing a long time ago, I think. So.
Yeah, because we've had the trophy there for a long time, haven't we? And we've kind of messed around with it.
Yeah, it's been more. There's been no actual data to back it up.
No
So,
data.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we want.
No, that's it. Money where our mouth is now. Gosh, right. I may have to refigure a few things.
McFabulous is done here, isn't he?
I'm hearing that Dave's won all the weeks so far, so I've got to try and live up
That's
to
it.
the
No,
mental
me
role.
and him finished level when I was in last Saturday.
Oh,
Level on 13. So, that's a shared victory.
so Robbie's the man to watch going into today.
We'll have to see.
We are just seeing, though, do get in touch, of course, on YouTube, messages for any fancies that you've got throughout the afternoon. But this 115 at Newbury, we're already going to see a big shock. 4-6 favourite, I think, before the off was McFabulous. Not even in the picture here. Just the two runners at the moment, Corserine and Unanswered Prayers, having a good ding-dong battle. Chris Gordon's charge just in front, but Corserine, the outsider, are free as they go towards the second last. Still competitive. But McFabulous, he's blotted the copybook again here, Robbie.
Yeah, he was. I really fancied him at Kempton over Christmas. Just a bit disappointing that day. He's just not really seeming to go forward. I mean, he always likes good ground as well, so he's got no real excuses here. And it looks like the actual big outside of the free is going to be getting up here from Unanswered Prayers. So if you've played the play spot, not many going to be left in that after the first race.
Yeah, big shock in the first. Corserine for John Joe O'Neill Jr. and his father delivering the goods in that opener. Unanswered Prayers in second, and McFabulous, I think, was pulled up. But a disappointing start for Paul Nicholls to quite a busy day. A lot of leading favourites, the Nicholls Yard, with the likes of Grenadine, and then the Betfair Hurdle. Rubo looks quite an interesting runner. What do you make of the action overall today?
Yeah, it is disappointing, but we can't be too downhearted because of the last 2 weekends we've had with the Cheltenham Trials Day and with that blockbuster 9-race card, and then obviously last weekend with the DRF. So we can't be too downbeat about this weekend. And obviously with the ground concerns, I mean, Newbury, their hand was ultimately forced because they are legally obliged, or they cannot dip into the borehole that they use to water the course the other 9 months of the year. So, we talk about Clark's of a course as getting abuse. they literally, their hands were completely tied. So at least with the Betfair Hurdle, it's probably not as classy a renewal as we used to. The ratings will tell you that. But in terms of the competitiveness of that race, it's brilliant. So at least we have the Betfair Hurdle to go to war with. In terms of other races today, yeah, it's slim pickings to try and find betting angles into.
Okay. Yeah. What about yourself, Robbie?
Yeah, we'll do our best, mate. I mean, it's worth saying the Betfair Hurdle is the most lucrative handicap hurdle in the entire season. And it's worth 31k more than the county hurdle at Cheltenham. So there's a lot of money up for grabs. And I think it's a very good field this year. You just sort of look at what horses go on to do after it. You've had a lot of horses go on to run well in the Supreme after. So, yeah, I mean, you can spin it whichever way you want, but you've got to try and look at the positives. And we've got some big names running today and the biggest handicap of the year. So looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Well, let's have a look at the Lucky 15 that we're going to put on, of course, in aid of charity. All proceeds, if we can indeed make a profit, going towards the Injured Jockeys Fund. Robbie's in charge of the Lucky 15 for today's action. So what are we going for?
The 15, Rob? Right. Kate, you're starting. Talk me through your selection first.
Yes, Yorksey is my selection. He was 30.
In what race, sorry, please?
Oh, sorry, in the Betfair Hurdle, which is the 335. Try and help out as much as possible. Yeah, horse that was 33-1 earlier on in the week on Thursday when the decks first came out. He's been fairly smashed since then, admittedly, but in a very open contest. My original selection, Hacker de Place, obviously was a non-runner then yesterday as a counter for ground, but Yorksey has been really, really well backed and interestingly so, because Gary Moore has also got Teddy Blue in this race, but Noel Houlihan with, I know it's a cliche, but a steal of a £3 claim then riding this horse, that winning combination. Yes, he only won at Fontwell last time out. Course and distance, we know he goes well at anyway, but the fact he raced wide throughout there, I just think that this whole Betfair Hurdle should set up nicely with the amount of pace on that's in this race to bring him into it.
Gary Moore, 3 wins in the Betfair Hurdle this century. I like Teddy Blue, actually, the other one. So
really?
we're both
with you there, Dan. Yeah.
Famous for taking the hurdle with him.
Yes, of course, yeah.
He's very keen. He's going to get a strong old pace here, so I think he's going to go well. Please talk me through your selection, Dan.
Well, Devo's been in touch already and has said, you know,
Devo's had his say, is he?
I do love a shorty, but Devo, I'm going to shock you here. I'm taking on one of the shorties, which is Hitman today. Well, he was short, but now drifted out. I'm going to be with Eldorado Allen. He won the race last year. A Shape with Promise, been beaten behind the likes of Brave Man's Game and Protectorate already this season. The Tizard Yard, the concern is the form, only 2 from 40, but Killer Kane won yesterday. Hopefully that maybe signals a return to form for Team Tizard, and I thought maybe on better ground he makes a pill. I'd probably be taking on Hitman. He's still got it to prove over the trip. He bled from the nose last time out in the King George, and I just thought he was worth taking on in that. I think wide open Denman. I
agree, mate, yeah. I just thought that was the sort of race where I could see almost 4 or 5 of them winning. But I get Eldorado. He's kind of underrated, isn't he? He always seems to run well. I've gone for Theatre Glory, the first. Well, that would be a real turn-up, actually, because Love Envoy is a sort of 4-7 favourite at the moment. In that 205 Warwick, the Mayor's Hurdle. I'm worried about the ground for Love.
Non-runner, I think. Literally just then.
Just now?
Just now.
Hang on. You might have accidentally... you might have just on your personal phone removed her by accident. Oh no, she's not runner.
How can I remove a horse?
No, I've done this on the website before. Like when I'm looking at the race, I click X by accident. But Kate is right, and Love Envoy is a non-runner.
Well, that was always going to be a concern, wasn't it? Because of the ground for her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as we speak, Theatre Glory has just gone from 5-2 to 8-13. So.
Wow, should have pressed there. Why are we dilly-dallying?
Yeah, I know. Well, it would have been rule forward, wouldn't we?
No, yeah, we would have been massively so.
I don't know, 8-13 favourite, I might improvise and go for another one because it's no fun, is it? But I just think 8-13 is a fair old bet. What are we going to do instead? Well, Haddox was one I liked to go against John Bond, but he's 1-20. So, you know, let's go over to Newbury.
What about something in the game spirit? Should we throw in Grenadine as the shorty? Or do you want to go a bit?
I was trying to get away from odds on, but
you're going to try and get him beat with another.
Do you know what? I'm going to go for Regarding Ruth in the opener.
Yes, I like that.
Yes, I can't believe she's 130. She opened about 8-1 last night, but got a really nice record fresh. She's off 645 days, which is a bit of a concern. But you got Eddie Edge taking off £10, not a bad rider at all. I just think the fact that she's a mare and she would have been a fairly valuable broodmare, and they've brought her back in training as a 9-year-old after such on layoff suggests she must be showing a little bit. And yeah, I think it's quite well treated. So Regarding Ruth for me, so that's the 3. What are we doing for the 4th one, guys?
Well, should we put Shorty in to guarantee some return? Grenadine? Come on.
Grenadine, let's have it then. Yeah.
Evo will be disappointed enough and put one in.
When I was looking at all the shorties yesterday, I thought Grenadine was the one who looked the most solid. So, yeah, Grenadine it is.
A couple of people just being on touch. Win and place double for today. 335 Highway 102 and 348 Mr. Freedom. And Simon's been back in touch. He fancies a Fear to Glory and Dino Blue double. Dino Blue, of course, runs over at Nace, but an interesting renewal of that Opera hat. And Billaway, of course, the Fox Hunters winner is in action later on the card. 14 Mullins in that 4 o'clock. But Love Envoi now out of the 205. Another one bites the dust in terms of runner stay. You can't help the ground, as you said about Newbury, but it still is quite frustrating at this time of year. I think 9 of the last 10 Betfair hurdles have been run on soft or heavy. So it's going to be a real change though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And we talk about the fact that Newbury can't water from the borehole reserves that they then have, but how often, because they're not able to use it in December, January, February, how often do you really need to water in those months? So it's just one of those really unfortunate things where the nature of how this season has gone with Mother Nature and with the quicker ground has just been a theme throughout it, unfortunately.
I think the guys just brought up the lucky 15. So what we return?
Yeah, £1. I didn't go each way this time. I did it last time, but because we've got a couple of shorties in there. But £1 returns 1.1 large, which for those who don't know means 1.1 thousand pounds. So let's have it.
So, first race of the day is the 1:30 at Warwick. This is the Warwick Castle Handicap Chase. Stolen Silver, your 6-5 favourite. 3-1 for Night in Dubai. Mackenberg at 16-5. And Mazir des Obo at around 15-2. Start with you, Kate. Who'd you like?
To be honest with you, I mean, the guys in the gallery will absolutely kill me here because originally I was going for Night of Dubai from the price perspective, but I actually think that's a very fair price about Stolen Silver here, and the fact that he's likely to go out to make all. I mean, if we can't change it, I'll stick with Night in Dubai, but I think that price is really fair about Stolen Silver. I think he's in a whole league of his own in comparison to these horses. Yes, he's on a career high mark here, but at the same time, given how well he goes over this trip, yes, Cheltenham sees the best in him, but if he can just get into that rhythm on the front end, I think he's going to be very, very difficult to claw back, given the question marks that his rivals have to answer. Night in Dubai is a horse that does go very well fresh, but at the same, and he is on a very fair mark, but can we really be trusting him? I thought I could at the original prices, but the fact that you're getting odds against Stolen Silver is, it looks a bit of a gimme now for him.
Okay, Tom Leach is laying Stolen Silver. Are you with or against the Fav?
I'm against Tom Leach. I'm with the Fav. I did like Galahad Quest in this, but he was yet another casualty. Well, not a casualty, but not running. Stolen Silver, Grade 1 entered as well. He was entering the Ascot Chase next week, so I mean they wouldn't waste that, I'm sure. But yeah, I just look at this and think you've got a couple of 11 and 10-year-olds here, Messard des Obo and Night in Dubai, a bit past their best. I think Mackenberg, I think he's high enough in the weights, really. So I think this in a weak enough handicap, Stolen Silver makes probably a bit of appeal at odds against. He was odds on early, he's drifted a bit, but I quite like him, yeah.
Why has he drifted?
It's just Couldn't tell you.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? I thought that people would just be continuing to pile into him when Galahad Quest was a non-runner.
Yeah, I suppose there's a little bit of money for Night in Dubai, but I don't know if I see that.
Proven on good ground, of course. Stolen Silver returned lame after his late in the Paddy Power and check with tons of promise at Cheltenham last time out. The form, of course, was franked from that Cheltenham race on New Year's Day with Il Ridotto, then bolting up at Cheltenham on Festival Trials Day. I was also with Galahad Quest before it was ruled out, but Stolen Silver, 3 votes in the studio now in this Warwick Castle Handicap Chase. And it is Stolen Silver the Grey who does make the early running for Sam Thomas and Adam Wedge. On the outside, also prominent is Night in Dubai. So the top 2 in the market, the early pace setters ahead of Mazir des Obo and Mackenberg. Dan and Harry Skelton having a fine season, a couple of interesting runners as well today. Night in Dubai, very big over that second fence. Early days, nothing to be concerned about, Rob?
Nah, not really. Night in Dubai is just taking it over from Stolen Silver, but nah.
Yeah, changing up tactics at Night in Dubai, which was kind of one of the original angles I was originally siding with him in case they did do this, but with Galahad Quest with the headgear on and then Stolen Silver in here, I thought they would take a lead. But yeah, trying to change up tactics with the old boy, trying to get him sweeter, I guess, by the looks of things. And we know Warwick, it's such a front-runner bias track, especially on the chase course. If a horse gets into a rhythm, then they're so difficult to claw back. But originally realised them out, going to the front this time around. And but to be fair, we know that Stolen Silver, he can go forwards, but he's also happy to take a lead, so Adam Wedge doesn't look too deterred by that.
Mistake of the third by Mackenberg, actually, for Theo Gillard, but has now got back into a solid enough rhythm. But just the 4 runners in this first at Warwick. Small fields throughout at the track today. Slight mistake from Stolen Silver. 6 runners in the next, then 2. It's a bit of a concern. We'll come back on to John Bon later on, but he goes in that 240, the Kingmaker Novices Chase. Good to see Donald McCain having a good season. He's having a strong resurgence, though, isn't he, Robbie? After a couple of, disappointments.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just king of the North really now, isn't he? Remember, sort of after he won the Supreme with Cinders and Ashes, just sort of didn't really kick on for a good few years. He's sort of lacking that proper Grade 1 horse, but he's got a few Grade 2 horses like some Manila Drama, etc. So Mackenberg's a decent horse, but is he quite up to this mark? I'm not sure.
Still Night in Dubai then, setting the early fractions here for Dan and Harry Skelton. Measured that one nicely as well. Warwick, one of their local tracks, had plenty of success there. Yeah, very good.
The Student Day, I think it is.
Okay.
Apparently it's Student Day, so they're in the middle of the course. And the middle of the course, I think it's Common Land at Warwick anyway. And just seeing there as they came past the winning post of the circuit to go, all lining, they look about, I was going to say 10 deep, 5 deep from the rail there. But that would be great. I love a Student Day.
Yeah, big night on Warwick Student Union tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I've only ever been infield for Fontwell. I've seen them.
Yeah, running
I
across
quite
the
like.
track.
Yeah, I
Did
quite
you do
like
the run
that. So
across?
it's just a bit of a different view of the action, isn't it? But
Oh, yeah.
Stolen Silver's made a couple of niggly errors.
Yeah, he did actually, didn't he? Yeah. He didn't seem to lose too much ground at least, but I don't know. He's wedgy having a little shake up there, maybe.
Yeah, the elbows are going
Doing
up.
something, aren't they?
He does sort of ride pretty forwards like that on a horse anyway by just his positioning, but
Mackenberg's flashing his tail. No, it's nothing.
12 stone as well, Stolen Silver, giving Night in Dubai. He's only got 10 stone 4 on his back. Could that be something?
He comes good now after I've done a last minute switcheroo. I'll be very angry.
It would be the sort of thing
Always
that
the way
happens.
Could have gone clear in the early trophy battle.
No.
No changes though, really, at the moment. It's still Night in Dubai out in front. Stolen Silver in second. Little injection of pace there from Night in Dubai as Harry Skelton goes on again. Stolen Silver in second. Mercedes Obo, the 11-year-old, who's travelling nicely in third in the double green, ahead of Mackenberg, who's still at the back of the field. But Stolen Silver, a bit of work to do. A little bit of a nudge there from Adam Wedge again.
He won't be trading favourite in running, let me tell you that. Mercedes Obo's making a little bit of ground now. Yeah, he's done.
Bad mistake from Mackenberg, but Night in Dubai, Mercedes Obo is travelling very strongly.
Because he's the horse where we just associate him with long breaks between his races, a classy horse in his day. But last time out, the fact he pulled up on the back of a long absence, he sort of thought, oh, well, that was his chance then this season to get back to winning ways. So if he comes good, I'll be even more annoyed.
Well, it's a 2-runner race now, you think, barring any mishaps between Night in Dubai and Mercedes Obo. Long back gap now to Stolen Silver and Mackenberg. So Mercedes Obo and Night in Dubai as they start their run for home. Mercedes Obo is probably travelling more sweetly than Night in Dubai, but what will he find off the bridle? Skelton already given a couple of slaps down the neck to Night in Dubai, who still leads by about a length. Then a distant gap back to Mackenberg, and looks like Stolen Silver is going to be pulled up at the back of the field. But Night in Dubai, he's led from the front, Harry Skelton. Whoa. Another good lead. Mercedes Obo in second, still giving chase about a length down. But it's still Night in Dubai as they come to this next one. Night in Dubai out in front by about a length. Mercedes Obo in second, Night in Dubai over. As they now begin the run for home, a furlong to go. Still Night in Dubai out in front. Mercedes Obo is rallying under Jacob. Night in Dubai starting to get a little bit lonely out in front, but as they go close home, Night in Dubai still there. Mercedes Obo's coming with every single stride. And he's got there.
Fair enough.
Mercedes Obo, the 11-year-old,
Wow.
he rolls back the years for Alan King and Daryl Jacob, of course. You've got to go back to 2016. He was a Challow winner. All that time ago. Another success now for Mercedes Obo, a Dipper winner as well, and the 11-year-old is back in the winner's enclosure for the first time since January the 21st. So 2 outsiders, the 115 we saw an outsider win, now an 8-1 roughie in the 130.
Oh,
Yeah, he's just given a little boost to Elixir the Nuts in the Game Spirit later on. And it sort of makes you think why Galahad Quest isn't running, because Galahad Quest finished miles ahead of him at Wincanton last time, but I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of annoying because I was on him at Wincanton last time.
Same.
Yeah, just thought like good record after layoffs. Like, I mean, after seeing that, and the fact he's 11 years old, he didn't look like he retained much ability, but he's obviously produced a much better effort there, and fair play to him.
Yeah, fine ride from Daryl Jacob, enjoying a fine time of things as well, Kate.
Yeah, and after El Fabiolo last weekend with Daryl, and Daryl sort of saying very graciously afterwards that, oh, well, Paul Townend and Willie Mullins are going to have a really good time of things with El Fabiolo this season. I think everyone's heart just sort of went, oh, you want Daryl to keep the ride on him though now, and of course he has sort of, you know, one of the best jobs in racing, and Simon Neer and Isaac Swade, they adore him, and rightly so, because Daryl puts an awful lot into the game. He cares so much as well. You just saw his reaction when they crossed the line, giving Mazir de Zobo sort of a customary Jacob pat there. So no, I'm delighted for him and for he's still patting him now. And but like I say, I was on him last time out. I'm actually not annoyed that he's won at all. That was only saying him running. But yeah, I was on him last time out as well, considering he won the Dipper when it was run at Wincanton, Grade 2. I thought that last time out, he back in a handicap, he was a good thing, but he just gave no sort of running whatsoever. He's been given not as much of a freshen up here at all, but he's managed to defy that fact that we thought he needed time between his runs.
Yeah, there's no doubt he was on a good mark of 136.
Yeah.
I mean, he beat Protectorat in that race, didn't he? I mean, that form's worked out. He was a proper top-class novice hurdler.
Martin Lewis said he called it last night on What a Shout on here with Messi de Zobo. Hope all listen to
Martin Lewis, finance.
Martin Lewis, the money, I don't know. He's spending his money at least on
he's spending it wisely then.
Hope all listened to me with the Hitman Grenadine double also last night.
I actually subscribed to his email newsletter. It gives you all sorts of decent tips for like saving money, right?
Oh, sorry,
saving energy and sort of like subscriptions and stuff. So I'd advise anyone watching the show to get on board with that. It's free. Little plug.
Little plug for Martin.
Just looking ahead then to the 240. Get your thoughts on John Bon first in this Kingmaker Novices Chase. Just the two runners now, Bassrock and Hadex de Zobo. I think a bruised foot the reason for Gary Moore's charge, and Bassrock also not making the journey down. Robbie, what do you make of this?
It's disappointing.
20 to 1 on. I mean, is it
20 to 1
is it worth him just staying at Hope and having a gallop? Is it even worth him coming down to Warwick?
It's worth what's he picking up for winning? He's picking up 31 grand for winning.
Probably more now if there's only the two. If the prize money.
I mean, my word, if you're Harry Skelton picking up 11 grand for finishing second here, just running around the field like quite simply, it's disappointing, but it's kind of what we come to expect in these sort of Grade 2 novice chases. You sort of don't believe your eyes. There's more than about 6 runners really, so it's not surprising. It's unfortunate with the ground. Whatever he does here, I just hope the bookmakers, if he wins by 100 lengths, I hope bookmakers don't shorten him for the arc.
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, if he's still a sea of blue after he does exactly what we're all expecting him to go and do there later, then that's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
They surely can't touch him.
Too right. He can only really drift in this instance. Kaliko, he's not really on the 136. John Bon's 159. You can't really see it, but still nice to see him. He's one of the probably most popular horses around, isn't he? If you ever criticise him, it seems like you have a lot of hate. So,
but what are we going to learn? We saw last week. We saw probably a lot of people are saying one of the races of the season, the Irish Arkle, in terms of the quality and the depth of the race. We learnt a lot about El Fabiolo, what he's like in a battle. He made a bad mistake, 3 out. John Bon's not, I know, listen, you've got to run him. It's an easy way of picking up money. But this race, we are going to learn nothing about his Arkle.
It's a shame, and it could work against him going into Cheltenham, the fact that El Fabiolo is going to be a bit more battle-hardened over fences after that, because he beat a properly top-class field there. And John Bon, for me, will be going to Cheltenham having not beaten a top-class rival, and that can't be a good thing.
And the problem as well, Rob, he hasn't, in terms of races, he hasn't really been tested that much, even at Sandown against Boot Hill. I mean,
Boot Hill, he's come out and beaten by Tommy's Oscar. I don't know, he's just sort of like the horse he's beaten. I know he's beaten Montmoral, but he's clearly not a 2-miler. And you could argue Montmoral's kind of not really kicked on over fences either. So I'm bang against him for the Arkle. I think El Fabiolo should be favourite. And he can only do his claim, he can only worsen his claims today, really.
Yeah, so indictment of a worrying trend, I think, the fact that a Grade 2 event, just the 2 runners, John Bon, 20 to 1 on, and we're not going to learn anything about his prospects. So if I said now, John Bon or El Fabiolo for the Arkle right now?
Oh, El Fabiolo massively, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd have to be in agreement, because this will be his 3rd start over fences, John Bon, and I was talking about him earlier on in the week and discussing him with Barry Geraghty and AP, just to name drop there. But with the pair of those
That's
two,
one of the day.
yeah, it won't be the last. And discussing him with those two earlier on, and we were sort of saying, who would you rather be with? El Fabiolo, who still has enough to work on, where the improvement, we don't know where his ceiling is. John Bon, who's done nothing wrong, but we kind of know where we are with him as a result of that. And both of them, the ex-jockeys talking, said, well, we'd rather be with John Bon, and of course, with their connection to JP anyway. But you have to think where, actually, yes, John Bon hasn't made a mistake, but he hasn't had any sort of pressure whatsoever to be making a mistake. Sort of on his chasing debut, 2 rivals. Last time I had to stand down 3 rivals. He's made all on both occasions. Probably going to do again here. So he hasn't had that pressure put on. El Fabiolo made that hideous error, like you say, at the third last, yet still was able to recover and go again. Dysart Dynamo in there. There's going to be no hiding places for them at Cheltenham. So would you rather a horse that's experienced that now? At those prices, I would. And
I think how hard they went is evident by the way the Banbridge stayed on for second. He was terribly outpaced.
Oh, massively so.
And the fact that El Fabulo was able to sustain that gallop.
It was a proper race. Like, John Bon wouldn't have experienced anything like that over fences. I think he's probably beaten 4 or 5 top-class horses there, and he did it pretty well despite a serious error. So I think there's plenty to like. The fact he's not running at Cheltenham is a slight concern. And if he does make a bad mistake, I could sort of catch him out a bit. But I think in terms of raw engine, he's a better horse. I mean, also you go back to that entry Novice Hurdle. He's been beaten in the neck by John Bon, but that was just his second start over hurdles. John Bon much more experienced. I think this is a top-class horse.
And this isn't against John Bon. I don't want to crab John Bon whatsoever. Everything he's done over fences has been pinpoint perfect. And, the way he gets away from his fences, I love. He has not done anything wrong. It's just the nature of British racing. And this has been a reason people have cited the divide between Irish horses and British. Why are the Irish coming over here and just kicking us out of the way? Because they actually have competitive races they experience throughout the season, unlike our horses.
John Bon's he's had no one to test him just yet, and it's not you're not
his fault.
You're not knocking him. You're knocking maybe the standing he has for that reason. I don't see any value in 5-4 for the Arcourt at all.
Okay, Joe Holden, El Fab has the best form on paper. Let's move on then to this 150 at Newbury. 7-2 joints at the moment are Barbados Bucks, even and Regarding Roof. West of the Bridge is now a non. Jatalui 11-2, JB White 6s, 13-2 for Bridge North, 7-1 Annual Invictus, and 8 for Fleming's Tide. I think, Robbie, if I read the email correctly,
Please.
Jake Galloway has said one of only a few bets today regarding Roof to hopefully defy the long layoff. Are you with Regarding Roof or are you against?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just interesting that coming back after such a long layoff when she's a mare who finished 4th in a sort of listed race. Presumably they're coming back with the intention of trying to place in a graded contest. She's off 128, 118 if you factor in the jockey's claim. Lots of good form, fresh. Also beat I Will Do It 3 starts back comfortably, only getting a little bit of weight. I mean, he's obviously turned out to be a very, very good horse, nearly around 160. Just think, she also likes good ground as well. She won over the course and distance. She's now at the sort of price she should be. She opened up quite big last night. But it's a tough old race, but I'd like to think that she'll go pretty close.
Okay. Regarding Roof, I think we're going to have a bet on it on the app as well.
I think we should, mate, yeah.
While he's doing that, Kate, who do you like?
Yeah, I'm with Regarding Roof as well. Really, really like Regarding Roof then in here because, I mean, you've got Barbados Bucks at the head of the market there. And I guess, honestly, my own opinion is that it's such an open race. Something has to be at the head of a market. So why not put up a Cobden, Paul Nicholls Saturday horse then to go there? But not for me, Barbados Bucks. He hasn't been seen to any sort of order to be winning this then so far this season. And I just, no, I'm not. If he goes and wins, he can go and wins at that price. But yeah, Regarding Roof, you are taking the faith that she's going to be ready on the back of this 645-day absence. But she has a good record when she goes fresh. 3 starts back, she won a very similar race to this. And, the horse that she beat in second on that occasion, I Will Do It. Probably one of the only British horses that's actually going to be contesting the Grand National this year. That's a whole side subject. But she absolutely kicked him out of touch. So she's only had the 2 races since then. Yes, she's having to defy that absence, but the handicapper has relented as a result. She's only up £1 for last time out. Again, bit of a demolition job for her. Eddie Edge, great name, gets £10 off of her back as well, and she goes well fresh. So yeah, Regarding Roof for me as well.
Okay. Rob, I think we're going to put this on now. £25.
Yeah, I'll on, boy.
It's on.
Bet is on. £25 returns, 125. Let's have it.
Good luck to Eddie Edge and Lucy Wadham. I'm going to take a chance on Annual Invictus at a bigger price. I think JBY is interesting being back now as well, given has proven form on good ground. But got to back up Annual Invictus. Quite disappointing when pulled up last time out. Maybe that was a combination of the ground that Wincanton, but it was a poor effort given had been looking progressive over hurdles previously. 9 runs, 4 wins, impressed at Cheltenham in November. And if maybe repeating that form behind Captain Morgs at Cheltenham last time out might have a bit of a shout. So at a bigger price, I'll be with Annual Invictus.
No, Sir Robbie, no.
It's on the drift. Well, but just because it's got Robbie in it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sort of punting strategy I might have done when I was sort of 18, but I think when you do what we're paid to do.
A year on from then, though. No, yeah.
Exactly. No. Regarding Roof, let's have it. And also on the drift, so I guess we're getting paid best odds guaranteed if that wins the drift. So another £12.50 in the bag.
Just on the Grand National, you mentioned I Will Do It. That's another bone of contention, of course, throughout the week. I think the weights launch is next week. I think maybe the week after race at Punchestown next week. What have you made of all the furore over that, particularly in Britain?
It's not great, is it? It's really not great. And kind of the way that the British handicappers have come out and have said as well that this is an example of the demise of British racing. Pretty punchy words from then as well. But yeah, no, it's not great whatsoever. But you kind of think, you're talking about for your Grand National 140 horses plus to be getting into it, you would have thought that how many horses who have hit the criteria for the race, 7-year-olds and over, who have placed over 3 miles on a few occasions and that season, I can't remember the rules exactly now off the top of my head, that are rated that highly. How many have we actually got in this country to be doing that? And when you've got your early closers as well, that's another bone of contention that I disagree with. I think that's just something that we need to get rid of. Yeah, it's not great, and it probably is speaking volumes of British racing.
Well, personally, I'd just be glad that at least the Irish are entering. Also, if they didn't, then it'd be much worse.
We don't even get a full field if the Irish were.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really look at it as in like Britain and Ireland sort of thing. Just kind of just horses and a good big field. So, it's going to be a very good race again, isn't it? But this I Will Do It thing doesn't really sit right, does it? It doesn't add up that he can't run the race when he's won a Welsh National and a Classic Chase.
Yeah.
So that needs looking at. That's the one takeout really for me.
Lee Owens has been back in touch with you. The test will be the Arkle, but one makes mistakes and the other doesn't. Both have engines. John Bond wins. Not his fault the English opposition isn't stronger, Rob.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but it was only really one bad mistake, wasn't it, at Leopardstown? I wouldn't completely say El Fabiolo is necessarily sort of error-prone just because of that. Give him another, his only second run over fences. He's still a very, very inexperienced horse, so he should, in theory, get much better. I see someone else saying that John Bond, he beat him in neck at Aintree, but he had a hard race in Supreme. I kind of get that angle as well. But he did sort of have, what was it, 3 weeks turnaround? I don't know. This is the beauty of racing. Like, you can only re-speculate, can't you? But that's my take, at least.
Another big long runner coming in, Dear Mark, who a few people fancied in the Betfair Hurdle, now out of that free.
Dropping like flies, wow.
So another one out of the big handicap. Dear Mark, if you're on, is now a non-runner in that event. Final thoughts on this 150 at Newbury, guys?
Regarding Roof.
Regarding Roof.
2 votes for Regarding Roof. Barbados Bucks, your favourite. Sorry, Kate, go on.
No, not at all. I was just going to say Jatalui is very interesting, though, with Tom O'Brien obviously taking over from mighty David Maxwell. But yeah, and it's no offence to David whatsoever, but Tom
Sounds
O'Brien.
a little bit, but...
way to meddle, Robbie.
Seeing David is one of the great sights in racing, isn't it, in a finish?
Oh, it is. I love him. Yeah, he's he's fantastic for the sport, and yeah, the old Corinthian. But yeah,
his nickname?
No,
Is that his nickname?
no, and I didn't mean to fit in the old I'm as a nod to his age by any means. But yeah, but Tom O'Brien taking over is an evident plus.
Here we go then, 150 handicap hurdle at Newbury. Your 7-2 favourite at the off. Barbados Bucks, but now out to 4-1. The guys with Regarding Roof at 5, and I'm taking the chance of Annual Invictus at 6-1. And a positive ride on Annual Invictus, who straight away is pushed into the front. Flemonstide on the outside for Bryony Frost, and Regarding Roof in the middle under £10 claimer Eddie Edge. But it's Annual Invictus setting the early pace. On the outside, Flemonstide, Regarding Roof, Jatalui on the inside. Ahead of Barbados Bucks, C. Robbie, And at the back of the field is Bridge North and JBY for this 3 mile event, 150. Annual Invictus, a nice leap over that as well. Jatalui, I suppose, was quite interesting in terms of had some smart form in France and has then been pointing. It's been he hasn't really lived up to the billing I thought he would when he first came over. I think won his first 5 for Philip Hobbs.
Yeah, exactly. He looked a really, really smart horse then, and he's gone close at Cheltenham on a couple of occasions as well then. And so he's off of a feasible mark here. He's given £2 back for last time out as well, which was an okay run to be fair to him. But this season very well treated considering he finished second in a very competitive. He won at Cheltenham, didn't he? In that competitive handicap off of a £2 higher mark, and he fairly dotted up in that. So with Tom O'Brien taking over off of a feasible mark, this looks the way to go. But I just can't quite get the handle on Philip Hobbs' form this season. I'm finding it very tricky to know exactly when to side with him.
Are you Victor's a bit keen out in front? Or
So it's actually just a million miles away. He does though, looking at what I'm seeing there. Be a slight concern about it backers. Obviously you're on Dan. But,
I'm concerned now.
Probably, mate.
It's a bit lively early on, but regarding Roof has settled nicely for the guys in the studio. Jatalui as well is prominent. Fleming's Tide and Barbados Bucks, the Paul Nicholls 2 runners also towards the back of the field, along with JBY. Philip Hobbs, would the concern maybe be the yard is not firing on all cylinders for Jatalui backers?
That's the thing. I just can't, previously what we used to associate with the Hobbs yard was that the horses ran to form pretty much every time. It was a rarity if a horse all of a sudden blew out or something like that. You wouldn't. And horses were always priced up accordingly, and you just knew what you were getting from horses. In recent seasons, that hasn't been the case with them, and I find them very, very difficult to pin down. So, that is going to be, again, I always have to factor that in now when I'm siding or looking at Hobbsy horses, but Jatalui, we know.
You used to work there, didn't you?
I did for 5 years.
5 years?
5 years.
Full time as well?
Yes, we had proper hard graft back then. Not like nowadays, no. But literally the horses, you could set your watch by them. You knew exactly how they were going to run when you sent them out then to the races. And they just did the same thing. It was just it was monotonous kind of and just a conveyor belt of what the horses were doing, and they would translate that to the track. But nowadays we know that they've quietened down a bit.
Best horse you sat on there?
Menora, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably Menora. He was just.
Did Menora win a Grade 1? He won loads of Grade 2s, didn't he? But
He loved that Oaksy
Grade 1
chase, didn't he?
Yeah, the Oaksy chase. Yeah, that's the race I was associating with. What Grade 1 did he win?
Supreme.
Is it? Sorry, show my hand a bit here, because I'm slightly new to the racing. I didn't watch anything.
Just double check that was the case. You've got me thinking now. I'm like, he did.
I think that sounds about right, because the first Supreme I saw was Cinders and Ashes.
Get me out of here.
Right, okay. What year?
Dungwib was the favourite in that drive. Great Dungwib.
What year was that?
2010.
Okay, I think the first one I watched was 2011, you see. So, not sort of bred into the game like a lot of people.
Get me out of here, of course, a Betfair Hurdle winner. That race coming up later on today. But back to this race, it's still Annie Invictus out in front. Settled a little bit better under Freddie Gordon. The mistake there was for Bryony Frost on Fleming's Tide. Towards the back of the field is still Robbie, Bridge North, Jatalui, and right at the back is Barbados Bucks under Harry Cobden, who looks a little outpaced and is being nudged along by Cobden. JBY also towards the back, but it's Andy Invictus still going a good clip out in front, ahead of Jatalui and regarding Ruth in third. Fleming's Tide back on the bridle for Bryony Frost. And then, would you be concerned if you were a Harry Cobden backer here, Barbados Bucks?
Yeah, very much so. I don't know if that's a sign of because McFabulous sort of ran a similar sort of race, a bit out of pace early. But I don't know, he's sort of coming on and off the bridle though, and he's sort of back on it. So early enough days, but I'm liking the way our regarding Roof's going, to be honest.
Kate?
Yeah, no, I'm pleased with regarding Roof. She's travelling really well. This is the only concern, though, when you've got a horse on the back of a layoff, they can travel so well into a contest and then they can just blow. So I wouldn't have sided with her each way here. I think she's either going to win or all of a sudden the absence is going to tell. But right now, couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I think we're on the...
we're on
the in-running favourite at least, aren't we?
Here we go then, as they come to the third last. It's still out in front, Annual Invictus. Regarding Roof, 645 days off the track. Is that going to be a concern? On the outside is JBY, who's also coming into contention.
JBY's coming,
JBY
for Alan King. Jatalui is also there, and now Fleming's tied. It's 5 in a line as they come to the second last. JBY is the one who looks to be going best for Gavin Shin. Annual Invictus is still there and is over in front. Annual Invictus leads. Fleming's tied in second. Then a gap back to JBY and Jatalui, but it's still Annual Invictus. He was keen early. Can he see them all off under Freddie Gordon? It's JBY who looks now the final challenger. Over the last, another good leap from Annual Invictus, who goes on by about half a length. Now JBY starts to get rolling on the outside. A furlong to go. Annual Invictus, look at Barbados Bucks under Harry Cobden flying home. But it's still Annual Invictus out in front. We need the line. Annual Invictus under Freddie Gordon. An enterprising ride, and he's going to come home in front. Annual Invictus scores. Good performance.
Boy.
Barbados Bucks in seconds and JBY in third. Lovely performance from the top weight, Annual Invictus, for Chris and Freddie Gordon.
How does it feel to be top of the... you got your hands on that trophy already, boy?
Top of the standings.
6-1. Am I feeling all right? It's a bit big for me. But no, good performance from Annual Invictus, who we were concerned about being keen early, Rob, but has sorted out well.
Kept finding, isn't he? And when Barbados Bucks looked to fret, and he pulled out a bit extra. So nice selection from yourself, mate.
Would you be putting Regarding Roof in the tracker, though, given the way...
yeah. I mean, Kate mentioned it in running that it's a bit concerned just how well she's travelled after a big long layoff. And we saw already Miss Sardes sort of come back from a massive layoff as well. First time out pulled up, next time out won. So I wouldn't necessarily give up on her. She's going to be dropped in the weights quite a bit. I think the fact that she's 9 as well, handicap often drops older horses quite quickly. So I'd be very interested in her second time out potentially.
Producer's been in my head. Eddie Edge is the greatest name in racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I heard someone say the other day that it's the best wrestling name they've ever heard for a non-wrestler.
Yeah.
Eddie Edge. Hopefully he's a big character with a name like that, a lot to live up to.
I've actually never met him, so I don't,
You can't really be a shy and retiring sort of.
No, you definitely imagine that.
Yeah,
If you were really quiet and subdued,
it doesn't work.
Eddie Edge, just the 3 winners so far under rules for Eddie Edge, but hopefully the future's bright for him. But Annual Invictus, a good winner. Barbados Bucks badly outpaced and has stayed on to good effect, Rob?
Yeah, I catch enough race, mate. Yeah, keep him in the tracker. Maybe it's just a sort of ground thing. Would have found this quick enough. But yeah, I mean, you have to say, cause this looked a much better race than the previous one we watched, didn't it? So he's not going to go up anything for this. So he's going to have to be of interest next time as well, maybe on a bit slower ground.
Okay, that's your 150 then. Annual Invictus coming home in front for Chris and Freddie Gordon ahead of Barbados Bucks. And I think JBY, who I think appreciated the return to better ground, in third. Regarding Roof did stop quite quickly. They're not even in the picture by the end.
I'd like to see a bit of a break, though, for her before that, just for fear of bounce factor because of how well. Not bounce, because we associate bounce factors with horses that have run well and then underperform, but that can also happen with a horse that's travelled into a race and then blown up. Good for Freddie Gordon, though, because he obviously had that nasty unseat there the other day when he looked as though he was going to go on to win at Wincampton on Sammy Bear. He managed to win on that horse yesterday, managing to sort of rewrite that wrong, and he won on his previous ride as well. So that's 3 in a row now for Freddie Gordon, his last 3 rides.
Good performance. 6-1 the winner, 7-2 Barbados Bucks, Jolly and JBY also at 6s. Let's move on then to the next, which is the 205. This is the Warwick Mares Hurdle listed event on the card. £30,000 prize fund for this 2 mile 5 contest. Just the 5 runners now. Lev Envoy is out of the race, a leading contender for the Mares Hurdle, but not going to be participating here. Bit disappointing, you'd say, for Connections, because this has been the plan all along to go to Warwick and then Cheltenham. So interested to see whether they just now go straight to Cheltenham. 8-11 for Fear to Glory. 5-2 Molly Ollie's Wishes, 9-4 available as well. 7's Indefatigable, Sky Ace at 12s and Malacana at 18s. Rob, you were keen on Fear to Glory before Love Envoy came out.
It's kind of annoying that Love Envoy isn't running because, it's just completely taking the juice out of Fear to Glory's price. But I'm still going to analyse it as if Love Envoy was running in a way because they're both rated pretty similar after their Novice Hurdle seasons last year. Love Envoy was 139, Fit Glory was 137, had a decent season. Really likes good ground, you go for a profile, lots of form on it. I think she had loads in her favour, and the fact that last time out third to Grey Dawn in which she was given Grey Dawn the stone has worked out pretty well because that horse won a Grade 2 next time. The ground was soft there. She doesn't have any fancy entries, but I just thought this was more of a kind of cup final for her. And Molly Ollie's Wishes strictly really should be. There shouldn't be much in it between them and the betting, but she's become a little bit inconsistent for my liking. Fear Glory for me, Dan.
Do you mind bringing up on the app for us?
Absolutely, yeah. We'll take. I would actually argue that what we get an 8-11 sort of price. So I think pretty fair value, to be honest. I just think she's the best horse in the race and the one on the upgrade. So we will have, how much do we have? Let's not get carried away, but I'm going to stick 40 on it.
40 quid on Fear to Glory at 4 to 6. There you go. Look how easy it is to place a bet on the Racing Post out the world's #1 horse racing app. Kate Tracey.
Yeah, have to go with Theatre Glory now. I thought she was interesting running in this race anyway, because I think she has a very feasible handicap mark should she have wanted to go for any of the Cheltenham prizes. And we know she's ground versatile, trip versatile as well. So your County, your Coral, your Martin Pipe, they were all open options then to her. And last time out, she kind of was given that ride where you thought, I wonder if they've got something else lined up for her here, because Nico de Boinville, he only went for her very late on, and she made up plenty of ground then in that time as well. And as Robbie said, the form has worked out really well, because Grey Dawning, I mean, the Skeltons, even prior to Warwick, they said, oh, this is a Grade 1 horse. So you thought going into Warwick for that Grade 2 price, you thought, well, if he doesn't win this, then he must just be like a bit of a morning glory horse or whatever. But he managed to go and win that anyway. Bob Barley came into that on the back of a really fair run when he was well supported at Cheltenham as well. So that form just looked solid, and she was given enough to do swinging into the home straight. So the fact that she's now running here in a listed price, I kind of thought, are they trying to protect her mark, trying to see where they are with her? They don't want to get too close to Love Envoy to destroy that mark, but if they did get too close to Love Envoy, that would have forced their hand to supplement her for the mares. Yeah. So that's kind of where I was originally looking at it. But now I think this is just a gimme for connections where they think, well, you know what, we're just going to go for a listed prize now. So yeah, have to be a Theatre Glory now, because Molly Ollie's Wishes can't back her on the back of just a 14-day break. She needs more layoff than that. Indefatigable, bless her, absolutely love her, but she's 10 years old now and she really looks on the wane. Sky Ace is very interesting, and Malakana shouldn't be good enough. But yeah, so Theatre Glory, the only way to play it now.
Okay, 2 votes then for Theatre Glory. I'm going to be a bit rogue and go for Indefatigable.
No. That was the one I thought, no, can't.
I'm going to be disgraceful.
Please make your case.
2020 winner of this event, and then went on.
That's quite a few years ago.
Yeah, it is, to win the County Hurdle off 145. Continues to slip down, but I think back on better ground. Okay, December the 9th was also good ground on that occasion in a handicap, but I'm just going to take a chance here on a bigger price. Theatre Glory, of course, is the one everyone wants to be with at 8 to 13. Molly Ollie's Wishes, of course, won this as well in the past, so 2 former winners in this, but at a bigger price, I was happy to
Horses bounce back, mate. Horses bounce back. And she will like the ground, I'll give you that.
Brave for me, but I think it's worth taking on. Theatre Glory, Indefatigable Forecast would probably be how I'd play it. Molly Ollie's Wishes, I think the problem with that one as well has also been disappointing really this year. Stepped up to 3 miles on the last couple of occasions. Okay, drops back in trip here.
You've also got nothing to lose in the trophy competition as well, because you're 5 clear of me.
Well, that's why. Even if I finish second, I'll take the chance.
Yeah.
The Warwick Mares Hurdle, though, is coming next up. But first up, let's have a look at a quick ad.
No caffeine after 12.
Make sure you join the Members Club. 50% off for your first 3 months as well. So definitely worth getting involved in the Ultimate Racing subscription. Give it a try with 50% off for the first 3 months. Remember, you can read the paper online from 9 p.m. the night before as well. Kate and Robbie are in need of caffeine, or they were earlier on today, you might have heard. Robbie's had 2 quick teas. Can we get a victory here, though, for Theatre Glory?
I think we can, mate, yeah. We're going to need it if me and Kate have got any chance of taking that trophy off you.
I've already given up.
Oh, we can't give up just yet. Long way to go.
Mally D, got to be up Molly's Ollie's Wishes in this, so good luck to Mally and Jimmy Duff later on. Dino Blue, 325 Nace is the best bet of the day. Help yourself. Tom Leach, love Dino Blue, the forgotten horse in the Mares Chase. So that's a 325, so I think we'll get the guys' thoughts on that race as well.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Duff's on D. Yeah, I like Dino Blue as well. Fair play to the gentleman.
JP McManus, a big day, of course, in his silks, chasing another win in the Betfair Hurdle. Triply represented in the race, including with the favourite, Filey Bay. But they're just about to come into line then for this 205, this Warwick Mares Hurdle. Your favourite at 8 to 11 is Fear to Glory. 9 to 4 for Molly's Ollie's Wishes. 7 to 1 Indefatigable. 12 Sky Ace and 18s for Malacana. Fear to Glory looks like they're going to keep it simple. Nico out in front.
Should do, yeah. That's one thing I was sort of looking at this race, thinking there's no real natural front runner. Oh, it looks like Indefatigable's doing it. Often held up.
Let's see if the fire still burns, Rob.
We're going to have to, yeah. I mean, we'll all look a bit silly if she does go and win. Well, me and Kate will, because she has got a lot of back class.
Yeah.
And Fear to Glory still needs to prove it, but a nice first leap as well. So
Sky Ace famously bought for £600.
Yeah, that's it. I know William Mullins still holds that grudge.
Serious value.
He still holds that grudge then with the Shark about that. He sort of said it in a joke the other day. He said, well, I'm not going to trust him to buy one of my horses out of my yard again. Look what he did with her.
There was a controversial result at Maidan yesterday in the first with a Godolphin horse breaking the track record in a handicap. But later on the card, there was a horse bought for £1,500 at Doncaster Sales who won the big sprint for
getting this value,
125,000. So
I've been on worse holidays for 600 quid than that. Marbella too. No, actually, that was a good holiday.
Marbella, good thing you're doing well to get that.
Magaluf too. Magaluf, that wasn't great.
You'd be lucky to get a holiday for that at Marbella. Magaluf.
We went back to the same hotel in Magaluf, like just really green.
Whoa.
But anyway, it's not relevant, is it, to the show?
It's a glory then.
Would also like to
As
hear
we
that.
escape Robbie's escapades in Magaluf is still out in front, ahead of Indefatigable in second. Former winner, of course, Daryl Jacob, already on the score sheet as well as the track today. Molly's Ollie's Wishes in third. Gap back to Malacana and Sky Ace at the back of the field. But keeping it simple here, Nico de Boinville on Fear to Glory from the front. Already got a win at the track as well, so proven at Warwick. Can the 4 to 7 favourite deliver the goods? No rule change early on. Sky has just got a bit of a nudge at the back, but Fear to Glory, you happy with how she's travelling?
Happy enough, mate, yeah. Jumping nicely. Little error from your selection there, Dan. But
yeah, that's not a great...
little
slap as well for Indefatigable.
Early enough for a slap.
Bit of a concern. Fear to Glory, happy?
Yeah, she's keen enough, isn't she? But to be fair, we know that with Nico de Boinville, that generally horses are pretty keen with him. So that's just much of a muchness really out in front. Hopefully keep it straightforward, capitalise on mistakes of her rivals in behind. Yes, Sky Ace is just very off the pace here really, isn't she?
Yeah, just not really ever kicked on from that Grade 1 win Fairhouse, Sky Ace.
Still out in front though, Fear to Glory for Nikki Henderson. Nikki, of course, has the Mares Novice Hurdle favourite who runs tomorrow. That's Lucia, 3 to 1 currently for that Cheltenham event. Bit of a mistake from
really
went through it a bit. Molly's Ollie's Wishes was the one who probably made a worse mistake than a big gap back to Sky. It's Malacana on the inside and Indefatigable in fourth. Maybe can pick up the forecast money, but it's still Fear to Glory who looks full of running out in front. Molly Ollie's Wishes in second, Malacana third, Indefatigable, and then a gap back to Sky Ace. Will this race, if Fear to Glory, I know we're halfway through it, will it have any real impact on you from a Mares Hurdle point of view, Rob? Even if
she's
won?
Well, maybe she won't impress. Would they consider supplementing her? Probably not. She's not any sort of big race entry. She's sort of thinking Mares only races for her. But yeah, I mean Henderson have a very strong hand in that Mares Hurdle, and would move Epatante and.
I think Marie's Rock's stepping up in trip though, isn't she? I think she's going Stayers Hurdle now.
Course, yeah.
I think so. So like you say, so Nicky Henderson's already trying to divide his horses up. So even if she goes and wins this, is he going to want to stick her in there as well after he's just managed to separate two of these other chances? Don't know.
He's got his hands full at the Bourneville, isn't he?
He does.
Molly's applying a little bit of pressure.
Fear to Glory ahead by about half a length, ahead of Molly's Ollie's Wishes, then a gap back to Malacana and Indefatigable. Sky Ace at the back of the field might be being pulled up as well, Sky Ace. But they're starting to leave the other two behind. Looks a match race now between Fear to Glory and Molly's Ollie's Wishes. Both seem to be going all right at this stage. Molly's Ollie's Wishes, a stake there from the favourite.
So I like the way Fear to Glory is hurdling today, just really attacking them.
But still
quite fluent. Yeah.
Can't even hold Fear to Glory, de Boinville, struggling to.
Got plenty in the tank.
And they
we'll see.
I think he's trying to get her into the bottom of some of the hurdles just to break that stride. To be fair, that was a perfect.
It's a lovely lead.
But beforehand, I think he was trying to just to cut her rhythm there slightly by trying to get her into the bottom of a few of those hurdles just to get a handle on her.
I think you might have called this Kate the Molly Ollie's sort of backing up runs quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing.
A bit of a worry.
Well, hopefully.
Well,
so anyway.
Maybe I'm speaking a little bit too soon. She's only 2 lengths up, but Well, it looks like a How Far job now, doesn't it?
So turning in, it's still Fear to Glory out in front, and the gap continues to get bigger now. 3 lengths back to Molly Dolly's Wishes. Maybe Indefatigable can get me the forecast money if able to stay on, but it's still Fear to Glory out in front. Comes to second last, just needs to pop. Lovely leap again. Molly Dolly's Wishes looks tired in second, makes a mistake. Indefatigable third, and Malakana in fourth place. Coming to the last, Fear to Glory just needs to jump it.
Ooh, came up out of his hands there.
That was fine. That was fine.
Very good performance
Done it easily,
from Fear to Glory, who romps home to land this listed prize. Well done to Nikki Henderson and Connections. Second place looks like it's going to go the way of Molly Ollie's Wishes, but hard held at the line, Fear to Glory. Molly Ollie's Wishes in second, and I get a point for Indefatigable back in.
Oh yeah, you're still winning.
I'm
Nice.
still there, just ahead.
It's the beauty of the competition. We should have been doing this years ago.
Yeah.
Adds a bit of more
for
juice
sure.
to it, doesn't
For
it?
sure, yeah.
Much to say on that, Rob? Or just
I was really
smooth?
impressed by that, to be honest. I'm just trying to sort of, we always look ahead in racing, don't we? I'm trying to think, like, where would you sort of run her next?
Would you wait for Aintree, bit of a flat track?
Quite possibly, yeah. But I'm just thinking at Aintree, like, what's the kind of natural? Would you chuck on an Aintree hurdle receiving £7? Maybe that would be a bit too far. But I mean, Molly Ollie's Wishes, she's made her look very ordinary, and Molly's, you know, she's contested a lot of races against the boys. So I don't see really what you got to lose in trying to get some sort of Grade 1 black type. That was really nice. I love the way she hurdles there. She hurdles better than most, to be honest. I mean, the last one that's got Kate out of her chair was a bit of a concern, but apart from that, it was very fluent, flicked over him.
So 2 champions left in their wake of this race, the Molly Ollie's Wishes and Indefatigable, with Fear to Glory, a good winner for Nico de Boinville and Nikki Henderson. Next up will be the Betfair Denman Chase, 225. Come to that in a minute. I wanted to ask the guys something that I read this morning, actually, from... it was in The Sun. Jack Keane, the racing correspondent.
We're in The Sun, are you?
I just saw this piece. I was interested to see your thoughts. He said effectively that after there was a Willie Mullins stable tour this week, Willie, of course, threw Paul Townend under the bus a couple of times at the Leopardstown Dublin Racing Festival. Are we one bad festival away from Paul Townend being dropped off? Nah. That's what Jack said. That was Jack.
Really?
He was surprised. He thought maybe it's the beginning of the end for the Townend Mullins combo.
I think that sounds like clickbait.
What do you think? Like, no.
And I will also go on to that and click it in.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the quotes I read, Mullins was saying, look, Townend gets it right 99% of the time. And you know, in any job, you're going to make mistakes, aren't you? And
are you surprised he called him out about the rides live on TV?
Well, I mean, it's sort of heat of the moment stuff, isn't it? But I think it's completely fair enough. I mean, if I'd made a mistake, I'd expect someone to call me out, and you sort of just take your medicine and learn from it. But I don't know, I think you need to be able to take criticism, and I doubt that Townend was particularly annoyed. Townend was probably more annoyed at himself for making the mistakes. But no, I don't think there's anything in that. I think Townend's always been spoken of in a very sort of high regard. It's just people kind of want these kind of juicy stories to sort of, people like a bit of animosity, a bit of tension. So yeah, I don't think there's anything in that. But it's interesting nonetheless.
Bubba's already been in touch though. He thinks Danny Mullins should be the number 1.
See, I've heard a few people sort of citing this, and I can't remember what I was listening to, but someone used the analogy over Brian and Nigel Clough then, and sort of a lack of nepotism to have played his own son. He basically had to prove himself that he was up to the standard of the other defenders within that team, and to actually gain a place. And you wonder, because Danny Mullins, it's always sort of been a running thought that he hasn't probably been given opportunities that his ability even deserves on his part. So, and now all of a sudden that he's really come of age, and he had the most stellar Dublin Racing Festival, of course, the results speak for themselves. And a few people were begging the question that, well, has Danny Mullins done his time in the, not in the doldrums, it's Willie Mullins's, but has he proven himself now, and has he done the hard graft of proving himself on horses with lesser chances to warrant him putting himself into the stable jockey's job? But Paul Townend has been there for years and years, second behind Ruby for so many years. He just does not get things wrong. And yes, we had Lossiemouth and Facile Vega. I think that was very much heat of the moment, emotion, talking from Willie. We know he speaks from the heart anyway, post-race interviews. I think it was very harsh on the Lossiemouth factor. And I think Facile Vega was beaten even regardless of how fast he went with high definition. So not for me, but I think that Danny Mullins has done evidently no damage to his own profile.
Is it nice to actually, well, not nice, is it positive to see actually someone being called out though? Is that something
think so,
that happens
yeah.
in racing
I like to
we
see
don't get enough of?
I like to see a bit of needle, yeah. I mean, Gosden and Dettori, there's that tension at Royal Ascot last year, and they've sort of put their differences aside. Yeah, I mean, it's sport, and there's passion involved. Like when you're watching your football team, there's sort of, you get angry if things don't go your way. So I think it's kind of healthy as human nature, and naturally at the time it looks a bit kind of like, I don't know, reaction, but I think you always get past these things.
Not sure how much you read into it, but another quote from the stable tours this week was Willie building up a horse called Diverge.
Yes.
I don't know if you know much about. Was successful at Punchestown on January the 30th by 23 lengths, now 14-1.
What was he saying about Diverge, Dan?
Hurdle.
I've not really...
He basically
I missed
just
this.
out of anything just came out and said,
Yeah.
oh, there's a horse you need to watch, and it's Diverge, following this
Interesting.
win at Punchestown. It was one of the big quotes from his stable visit last week, but I don't know. He's got so much firepower, hasn't he? It's ridiculous in so many divisions.
And that Diverge, he's 14-1 for the Supreme, he's 33-1 for the Ballymore. So yeah, they were notable quotes, and they did say he's a proper one. So
Son of Frankel as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If Frankel had a Grade 1 winner over jumps, I don't think so.
well, not
So
that I'm
that'd
aware
be,
of at all, no.
No. that'd be
Great
quite
horse's
interesting.
birthday today.
Yeah.
It's
Is it?
15.
I always thought horses are born on New Year's Day myself.
Every single one.
Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah, that's something I don't pay attention to enough, like actually when a horse is born. Like, is that when you're like Philip Hobbs, would you be aware of like birthdays and stuff?
Not unless you looked after them and you really
Yeah.
cared, and you, like, obviously we all cared, but you know, you cared about that horse in particular excessively, so then you sort of knew their
Who
birthday.
is your like main horse friend at Hobbs?
Horse friend.
Horse friend.
Fingal Bay was my
Fingal.
number
So
one.
when was
Yeah.
Fingal Bay's birthday?
I can't now, no.
But would you have known at the time?
I think I did. I must have known it at the time because it's
Yeah.
on all their name cards. So they have
Right.
their name card, they have what they're by and what their dam is, their owner.
Yeah.
And then they have their birthday there as well. So so you've got the year, yeah.
There's no like little celebration, no.
I can't say I did, actually, no.
No,
Maybe.
I don't really know how these things work.
No,
so.
yeah, I can't say I did actually. But it matters more from like our job now, obviously, for your flat performers when
Yeah,
we spoke
sure.
about.
Oh, yeah, there was the
Year-old.
Tuesday, like
Tuesday,
did
that
you
was it. I could not
turn
remember her
3,
name
like
then.
just before the.
Yeah.
Was it before the Oaks?
Yeah,
Like, on the day maybe.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
she was very late foal, and it's only really for those horses that it matters.
I actually do think this information should be sort of be evident and presented to us on our race cards, because it'd be quite interesting to know, like in terms of like late foals.
It is
and
on
stuff.
our app.
It is.
Well, this is why.
That's why the app is
The app
the
is so
place to
good,
be.
because Robbie Wells did not know that, but Kate's just told me something. I didn't. Well, please.
Man's birthday is the 17th of April, 20.
That's why it's the world's number1.
Have I never noticed
horse
it?
racing
It doesn't
app.
say it on the website, does it?
Favourite
On the app. That's
Frankel
why the
memory?
app's so good. Sorry, mate.
Favourite Frankel memory? Would it be that
Probably
Guineas?
when Ian Bartlett was like, he's 15 lengths clear. That was quite a good commentary. But that's the commentator, not the horse, is it? But just I mean, they're all pretty good, aren't they? Maybe the best one was when you thought he might get beaten by Sirius de Zeglis, and he actually sort of ground it out a bit, showed a different side to him. For me.
Have to be for me as well. That defeat of Sirius Zegels on soft ground. What about yourself?
I got to see him in person, second Sussex Stakes win then, and I got to see him in person that day. And so that, for a personal point of view, has to be the one, because just the crowds around the parade ring, and I was still pretty young then, and I knew how good a horse he was, obviously, but I probably didn't even then have quite the appreciation that I would have now. Like, oh my God, I actually went and saw that in person, the greatest racehorse of all time, in my opinion. That was unbelievable, that was.
From memories of Frankel to the Denman Chase, named, of course, in honour of the Gold Cup hero and a winner of this event in the past. 70,000 prize fund for this free mile event. Your 2-1 favourite is Hitman, trained by Paul Nicholls. Fanny and Destraval at 11-4. Eldorado Allen, the defending champ, at Freeze. Does He Know at 13-2. Sam Brown and Zanzer at 16s. And Kalashnikov for Amy Murphy at 33-1. So Hitman favourite. Are we taking on Hitman on the app here, Rob?
Yeah, we are, mate. I think we might go with your selection here, Dan, or Kate's. But I'm kind of a bit. I feel like when there's a race with about 6 runners and you think you wouldn't be surprised if 4 or 5 and 1, you should probably just leave it out. So I've kind of gone tentatively with Fanny and Destraval. I'll make a small. I won't be betting on the horse. I'll make a small case. Really likes Newbury. Quite well suited by the conditions of this. Likes good ground. Gets a bit of weight from a couple of the others. Good run off top weight in the Labrets Trophy. I think quite a small horse, Fanny Destraval. I've heard something in the past that apparently he struggles carrying these big weights. So getting weight from horses there, I think he's going to run well. But that's me. It's not a betting race. Who do you guys like?
I think we're going to place a bet on Eldorado Allen here.
Yes.
Please, how much? Score on.
Joe Tizard, why not?
£20. Yeah.
Why not?
Let's have it. Please,
Why don't you go first, Kate? Give us the case.
Yeah, Eldorado, because Hitman's
both
at
of you,
the head
nice.
of the market, basically, is the first port of call. You know, you kind of wake up and you think, this is Christmas Day if Hitman's favourite, because you just got to take him on wherever you can. And he only won his penultimate start because it was not a horse race. No one laid down anything to him. He just managed to get the uncontested lead. He's a horse where I know plenty of people think he has a lot of ability, but his second at Aintree behind Riders on the Storm in the Old Roan, he should have gone past. He had every chance to go past then, and I thought that at the time. And lots of people were like, oh no, well, he was giving away masses of weight. It was a really fair effort. I thought, And then he didn't. 3 rivals then at Haydock, and he just got the run of a race. Bled last time out. Do you want to side with a horse's favourite who bled last time out?
Not really, no.
No way. So Eldorado Allen, last year's winner, always underappreciated, isn't he? And unlike Hitman, he actually ran a solid enough, if not well, beaten race in the King George last time out. First time cheap pieces, I don't really think he needs them, but if it causes a little bit of extra spark midway through the race, ideal. I just think that he's just the straightforward horse in what isn't the most straightforward race. Does he know isn't a straightforward type? Lots of ability. Sam Brown ran not very well last time out. Zanza's for danger, I think, his course and distance form. That makes me a bit wary.
4 from 5 at Newbury.
I know.
Zanza.
He-
Very
Yeah,
good
he loves.
record.
Yeah,
Loves it.
you can't not look at Zanza in this because of his course form, but you just like to think that Summit will be better than him. Good little race though, yeah, for sure. I mean, this is probably the race of the day, to be honest, I think.
Hitman, as Kate said, obviously bled from the nose in the King George last time out. Still got to prove though that Hitman actually does get the 3 miles as well, of course. 1 over 2 mile 5 at Haydock, but that was in a canter beating Ern River. So I just think there's concerns over the trip as well for Hitman, despite this probably flat track paying to his advantage. Fanny and Destraval, the case made by Rob. Charlie Deutsch's Charge, who's got a good chance here and does go well at Newbury, but Eldorado Allen as well for me has to lump round 11-8 here. But winner of the race last year, some good runs in defeat, 3rd in the King George, 4th in the King George, staying on last time out. And I think despite the concern we had at the top of the show of the Tizard Yard, they had a winner yesterday. Maybe they're coming out the doldrums a bit.
Yeah, they are. Killer Kane, Rocco's Dream the day before as well. So hopefully, again, they've been a yard I found very, very tricky for a couple of seasons now to know exactly what to expect from their horses. But hopefully, after a little bit of a quieter time where both of those, no, actually, it was only Killer Kane that won in these colours, wasn't it? Rocco's Dream is the other yellow colours. So hopefully they're coming back to form now, and he's just solid, isn't he? But it's a very feasible grade 2 for one of these to pick up.
Bit disappointing year for the Tizards though, for Joe. There's no real stable flag.
No, not
he's
really.
probably the flag bearer, isn't he? Really, the big breaker he won
Yeah.
in the Welsh National. But,
He's probably the only Grade 1 horse they've got. Am I missing any? I can't.
No, I can't think of any. That
No,
they
he's the
haven't
main
really
one.
gone on, have they?
No.
Since the native river.
So, Amarillo Sky, they might hold sort of Grade 1 hopes for a bit down the line. They're quite good with these sort of slow maturing progressive horses, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd expect them to churn out a couple of decent novice hurdlers later in the season than they normally do. So
I think that was Native River actually parading them beforehand. We just
Was
saw a
it?
chestnut.
Did
with
you
a white
recognise them?
face. You do start to recognise them. You do actually.
Yeah.
I swear
I
to
wouldn't,
God,
because
you do start to actually.
honestly,
recognise
if Zanza and Fanny Destra are in the room together, I wouldn't tell you who's which.
them. Really.
Maybe Zanza's slightly bigger,
I was
but
going to say is that
Some
different,
some
like-
quick socials. Simon O'Neill, Zanza. Tom Leach, Zanza each way, and Eldorado Allen a win bet. Charlie's Rush, Zanza. Bubba's all over, does he know? Thinks he'll love the ground. Zanza is the worst jumper I've ever seen since the one my aunt knitted me at Christmas, says Julie Duff.
if he's come
Oh,
out
I'm
of
gonna
himself,
take that
fair
one.
enough. But if that is just plagiarised, then I don't know. But yeah, it's just one of those races, isn't it, where there's a lot of different names being spouted around, and I don't think you can go in 100% confidently.
There's
But
so
it
much
will be
first-time
interesting.
headgear in here as well.
Yeah.
Eldorado Allen, first-time cheap pieces. Sam Brown, first-time cheap pieces. Same with Fanny and Destraval. First-time blinkers, Kalashnikov. Zanza, who wears blinkers anyway. And Hitman with a tongue tie. So does he know? One of the least straightforward ones in here probably. Doesn't wear anything apart from a sheepskin noseband. So it's just a wash with headgear.
Okay, then this is the Denman Chase. Not long until the off for this Grade 2 event. 2-1 favourite is Hitman. 5-2 Eldorado Allen. Fanny and Destreval at 11-4, 15-2 for Does He Know, 16s for Zanza and Sam Brown, and 33s for Kalashnikov. Sam Brown was probably being lined up for the Fleur de Lis, wasn't he, at Lingfield, that race?
The ground was just... I really like the horse. I put him up a few times, but yeah, just the ground is quick enough out there. I'm surprised he's even running. They're probably running because their hands are almost forced in a way. But yeah, cracking race.
Does He Know? Good record. Has even won on Good to Firm at Ludlow back in 2020, so the ground's not going to be a concern for Kim Bailey's charge, who arguably put up a career best at Cheltenham last time out, but does need to push forward here for David Bass. Not long till the off for this Denman Chase. Recent winners, of course, you've got the likes of Native River, who was a multiple winner of it. Paul Nicholls and Colin Tizard dominated the race for many years. Eldorado Allen, successful last year. Secret Investor back in 2021. I think he won a Hunter's Chase yesterday. Native River, Clandezobo, and even Conigry won it back in 2015 en route to Cheltenham Gold Cup glory. So, just about to come into line. Final thoughts, Rob, you're with?
Yeah, Fanion, but it's, whoa, he's being right. Yeah, he's a little boy, isn't he?
He's tiny. Yeah, probably good for Charlie Deutsch in the saddle, though, on him. Not that Lucy Turner did anything wrong whatsoever, but wow, fair enough pace on to the first.
I suppose they sort of had, because if you're running handicaps, you're going to have to take some weight off him, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. She does get on well with him, but just the same race every time that he's trying to do again now, drop himself out.
He's just well outpaced like, early on though. So
already pushed along.
This happened in the Elaborates Trophy as well, to be fair.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Kalashnikov's a bulldozer, isn't he? Look at him. It's like a bowling ball, the way he goes about his business.
Yeah, Kalashnikov's an interesting horse. You're sort of wondering why they're not trying to exploit a handicap mark 150. Like, he was proper on the periphery of Grade 1 level a couple of years ago. It's just that, again, like that veteran been off a long time, how much ability does he really retain? But he looks quite enthusiastic, at least. So
the two market rivals, Eldorado Allen and Hitman, towards the front of affairs, along with Kalashnikov on the outside. Gap back to Does He Know as they come to the next. Good leap from Eldorado Allen. Bit of a mistake in behind from Sam Brown, and Fanny and Destreval nudged along again. Zanzar is at the back of the field. But Does He Know is settled nicely in fourth. Kalashnikov on the outside. A good dual purpose these days as well, Amy Murphy. Not just Kalashnikov kind of put her on the map, but she's having success on the flat as well now, Kate. Over
in France and everything there over the summer. She was having sort of listed winners and everything on the flat over in France during the summer. Had a satellite yard based out there. Tricky in France though with your license. Sorry, just watching a fence. With licenses, they only give you a 3-month license, sort of temporary, and then you have to apply and you have to be able to speak fluent French and such like to be able to get out a full license over there now. But no, she is a very good dual purpose trainer.
Does he know is a bit slow at that last one, ahead of Sam Brown, who's now been pushed towards the back of the field. Probably going a bit quick for him as well, but it's Eldorado Allen who's got into a good rhythm out in front, jumping well. Hitman in second, Kalashnikov on your outside, ahead of Fanny and Destreval. Charlie Deutsch still at work on Venetia Williams' charge. Does He Know, Zanzar and Sam Brown. Rob, early thoughts?
Early thoughts is, I think I'm going to be annoyed if I haven't batted Zanzar. He just loves... What is it about Newbury that he just absolutely loves? I just can't really put my finger on it.
Yeah, it's such like, it's not an idiosyncratic track, is it? But for some reason, certain horses just love it and certain horses don't.
Yeah, is that Paint the Dream's another one. He absolutely loves it. Yeah, it's strange. One of the great mysteries.
Chris Timms is on Fanny and Destreval this as well. He took the 7-2 last night. Would you be concerned in running if you're on Fanny?
Yeah, he's just sort of like on and off the bridle, isn't he? But I'd be certainly more concerned if I was on Sam Brown looking at this. He's not got a terrible position, I'd say, but yeah, on and off the bridle.
Going a decent enough clip, still Eldorado Allen out in front, along with Hitman. They slowed it down slightly after that frenetic early pace. Kalashnikov has travelled well on the outside, ahead of Does He Know. Sam Brown at the back of the field is toiling at the moment, but the first two still going nicely, Eldorado Allen.
Yeah, you guys must be happy enough with Eldorado at the moment.
You jinx us.
I need to. I need to, because I don't want to be bottom of this competition.
As Sam Brown gets pulled up.
Yeah, Sam Brown pulled up. Fanny and Destreval also really struggling now at the moment as well. So keep an eye on Charlie Deutsch at the back of the field. Kalashnikov has still travelled sweetly on the outside under Jack Quinlan. Might be one to watch, but it's still Hitman and Eldorado Allen who are measuring their fences well. Does He Know? One to watch him behind.
Does He Know's not done yet. I mean, it's basically just rule out Fanyon, and Sam Brown has been pulled up. Other than that, it's open.
I'm always scared to rule out Fanyon, and no matter what he's doing in a race, he just suddenly appears from out of the screen. But yeah, Does He Know? To be fair, there were a few times where he had the option to. He jumped a little bit slow, but generally speaking, he's had the option to make a blunder. He's got himself out of trouble on a few occasions. So yeah, he's jumping all right there.
Rony Miles said, the fences at Newbury are huge. You need to be able to jump them and land running. Fairest track in the country if you can give them a bit of air and some time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very much so.
Interesting angle. Fannion's staying back on again.
Just
as you pointed out.
Still Eldorado Allen, though, out in front on the inside, ahead of Hitman and Kalashnikov. So a three-pronged attack from the front. Ahead of Does He Know, who's travelling, while Zanzar, the Newbury fanboy, is in fifth, ahead of Fanny and Destraval, who is still in there pitching for Charlie Deutsch, despite being off the bridle for most of the race. As they come to next, Hitman was good at that one.
Yeah, he was.
And he has travelled sweetly throughout, hasn't he, Robbie?
Very much so, yeah. I've just seen Chelsea drew 1-0 West Ham. We just can't buy a win at the moment, can we?
Hey, Hitman going well?
He is. I know. I was hoping we might be able to have cracked him by this point with the amount of pace on, but to be fair, he is travelling very well. So I don't know. Now push is going to go. It's going to come to shove at some point. So I hope that someone can really throw it down to him.
Fannion's not out of this.
Well, here we go then.
Look at Fannion sneaking up the inner.
Where's he come from?
He's somehow got himself into contention. Hitman over the next. He's measured that one well. Now let's have a word if he can stay Hitman. But he's still out in front for Harry Cobden. Cobden looking after him at the minute before he starts to attack. Fanny Destraval's drifted halfway round the track.
He's not even
Zanzar, the Newbury fanboy who comes to travel here. Eldorado Allen looks beaten.
Why are we so stupid?
Fanny and Destraval's winning.
Still got problems. It's Zanzar who now takes over from Hitman. Has the petrol gauge emptied for Nichols. As Zanzar goes on, he's 4 from 5 at this track. He's about to make it 5 from 6 for Philip Hobbs. Zanzar comes to the last. He's got a 4-length lead, just has to jump it. And he's over. Zanzar, good performance. This is in the Betfair Denman Chase. Hitman is staying on again in second. Does He Know also running on in third for Kim Bailey. But this is all over. It's all about Zanzar. What a record he's got at Newbury. And he's going to complete that again to make it 5 from 6. A ready performance, a punch of the air as well from Tom O'Brien, who lands this Grade 2 event. Zanzar wins. A gap back then to Hitman in second. Then Does He Know? And staying on Fanny and Destraval and Eldorado Allen complete. But Zanzar.
So silly. Why are we so
Oh, that's
silly?
just annoyed me a lot.
I know. I'm so pleased for Philip Hobbs, for Tom O'Brien, for the horse. Why are we so silly at that price? Why did we not back him?
He was 33s last night.
Successful by 12 lengths at the track.
It's just the case is just so obvious. Sometimes just keep it simple. I know he had a lot to find, but horses for courses, and this geezer, something about Newbury just makes him run like a proper Grade 2 horse. I can't believe how easily he's won that.
I feel so stupid.
Tom Segal put up Zanzar last night.
And
Well,
just
price-wise.
play. He's had the nerves. I think. Well, a lot of people on this thread are going to be laughing as well with Zanzar.
No, well done, a few people. Simon O'Neill put it up. Tom Leach each way. Charlie's Rush, like Zanzar. Jimmy Duff, who said it was the worst jumper he's ever seen. Well, Jimmy, I mean, you have to eat your words after that performance. Jake Galloway, Zanzar. Neil Francis, Zanzar, you beaut. Simon O'Neill, Robbie is gutted.
He is gutted, yeah, because you just feel like one's just got away from all of us.
Massively so. I just feel very silly.
I feel a bit ill, actually, after that.
We even said beforehand, didn't we? We even made the case. And why did we then not side with him anyway?
The interesting dilemma is where do they go next with Zanzar?
Gold Cup.
I think basically just run everywhere other than Newbury to get his handicap marked down and then run in a big
come back for the Ladbroke Trophy. What's it called now?
Coral Gold Cup.
Coral Gold Cup, yeah.
Maybe that'd be a bit far, 3 more too. But I mean, there's a lot of decent handicaps you can win, and basically just his like whole career needs to revolve around Newbury, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not having that he could reproduce that kind of performance at like Aintree or something else. Like it just doesn't seem to happen. So,
what about a word on the also rans? Hitman first. Do you think he stayed?
Well, I mean, he's beating a proper stayer in Does He Know? What's the gap there? 2 or 3 lengths? I don't know. Well, if you take out, again, like a classic, bit of a cliche, if you take out Zanzar, you're saying Hitman, he's beating quite a decent field there. So there's a lot to unpick.
I actually think he's run a really solid race, Hitman. I know he's been beaten there, but I would agree that I think he stayed when you take into account Does He Know, who stays way further than this, and he's managed to hold him off with that same amount of lengths between the pair of those two from the last to the line. And on the back of bleeding last time out, fair play to Paul Nicholls. We know how good he is with horses who bleed and gets them back on track. But to do that on his next start, I don't think he's bled. I would be surprised if he showed up any blood in a post-race scope because of the way that he still hit the line. So I think he's run a solid race. He's just been no match for Zanzar, and again has just come off second best, which is a bit of a story of his.
I'm just trying to think like a race post handicap. Like how would I rate that? Like because Hitman can't. If Hitman's run to 160 there, which on paper, then Zanza's run to 170. I can't have that at all. That put him on grade 1 class. It's a tough old race to rate.
It is.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused really, but Zanza missed one there, didn't we?
Huge price, 18-1. Zanza returns. 2-1 favourite was Hitman, and Does He Know in third at 15-2. Interesting to see what connections say after this. 3,000 winners I'm hearing as well for Philip Hobbs. So an incredible achievement, and what a race to bring it up with. 3,000 winners, well done to Philip Hobbs, and he brings it up in style as Tom O'Brien salutes the crowd following Zanza's win in the Denman Chase, and he extends that brilliant record at Newbury. Hitman, just go back to him, a Ryanair, or would you wait for Aintree? Something there?
I'll take him on wherever he goes again.
Yeah, maybe have a whirl at the Ryanair, but he's I've been a fan of this horse for a long time, and he's not really done it, has he? Maybe the fact that he bled last time, I don't know if that left a bit of a mark, but having said that, he's still beating a pretty decent field apart from Zanza, isn't he? So I'm sure Nichols, he's still quite a young horse, he's only 6 years old, isn't he, Hitman? Is he 6 or 7?
He's 7 now.
Oh, he just turned 7. Happy birthday on New Year's Day. I wouldn't give up on him, but maybe it'll be hard to place.
Fantastic performance, though, from Zanza. Does He Know in third? Just a word on Eldorado Allen. That was pretty tame, actually, wasn't it, really?
Much so. Very, very tame from him. So, again, can't quite get a handle on the Tizard form, but the way he's cut out there, yes, he was bang up with the pace, but so was Hitman the whole way through that. So, yeah, you have to be disappointed with Eldorado Allen. I thought last year's race was a stronger renewal than this year, even with Zanza, the course specialist, within there. So, very tame from him with the early fractions. So, Hitman's managed to stick around. So, again, that might be a way of marking him up on that rather than Zanza was ridden with restraint, as was dear old Fagnon d'Estravael, who will continue to be a little ragamuffin for people to continue to side with him then going forwards. He's so bizarre, isn't he? I love him. I absolutely love him, but God knows what he is.
Well, there you go. Dave Zanza drifted right out on the betting. How are you supposed to win at this game? I know 18-1 next, but anyway.
He opened up at a big price. Then he was really cut in because everyone sort of thought, well, it's Zanza at Newbury. And then just before the off, then when we got the price up, I thought, God, 16-1 about Zanza. My word, that's I was expecting him to continue to shorten near the off. So yeah, that was a bit of a spanner in the works. But Philip Hobbs' yard, it wouldn't be a big gambling yard by any means. So. And the owners, the Pepiots, I believe they are, the Louisville Syndicate, sorry, they wouldn't be big gamblers either. So I wouldn't look at too many market moves for horses like that and pay too much attention.
It's a weird game, isn't it? I mean, you go through his form, like November, October, beating off 130, beating off 133, and he's just beating a proper field of high 150s, 160 sort of horses easily.
Genghis, he's going to send Valentine's card to Zanza. You beauty, what a performance. Simon O'Neill hit round one well, to be fair, after that bad Kempton run. Devo surely Aintree next, I think that means for Zanza. But good performance. Put up, I think, 33-1 by price-wise, but returns at 18-1, so still a big price winner. Zanza, well done to Philip Hobbs as well. 3,000 career successes. Right, match race time. This is what we all live for in this great game. The Kingmaker Novices Chase, £55,000 prize fund, a grade 2 event. John Bon is your 1-18, well 1-20 on my screen here, favourite. 9-1 for Calico. Reminder that Bass Rock and Haddox des Obeaux are out of this event. I think to win by 20 lengths or more, John Bon's available at 11-10. Not a race I'd be punting at all. Even that, what do you think?
Should we do it? I don't know.
Do you think he'd win by 20 over 20?
He could do. He could win 100 lengths. He could win 3 lengths.
Could finish on his own, couldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a bet here on the Racing Post app, to be honest.
Right, I'd be interested to see what happens market-wise as well after this race. 11-8, John Bon at the moment is your favourite. 2-1, El Fabiolo. 8-1, Dysert Dynamo, and Bigger the remainder. I do know one Nicky Henderson horse who's got beat at very short odds before. Anyone for a point?
Oh, in this race?
No, I think he was 1-12. Famously.
In what race?
It was just I think it was a novice hurdle. If you're thinking, so Triple Dip is a famous one, got beat at 20-1 on. Yeah. And Nicky Henderson, I think, has the second highest.
What year?
Ray horse.
What year was this?
Remember?
Roughly,
early 2010s, 2012s.
Oh, I ain't gonna have a chance.
Oh no, don't tell me this because
I'm not gonna have a chance.
Anyone on the chat who knows?
Who owned it?
It was owned by Men in Our Position was formerly trained by the Aga Khan. That's formerly owned by the Aga
These
Khan.
clues are making it more tricky. Great.
Got beat at Kelso in 2010 under Barry Geraghty.
Nah, I mean, I was
1-14 on. 1-14 fav.
Great.
If you can get that at home, I'll be impressed.
No one's getting that, though.
Someone's gone My Tent, no. Simon Sig, no. Do you give up?
No, yeah, Simon Sig was a grey.
He's actually like a famous horse.
Pretty. He ran in some. He was 12th in a World Hurdle. He was a decent horse.
Yeah.
Finished third in an
World
entry
Hurdle.
grade 1. Finished third in the entry hurdle. Third to Binocular in the 2010 champion. Binocular Khyber Kim was the other one in it. No.
I reckon I might have heard this horse's name before, actually. Go on, put us out of misery.
Zanar.
Oh, Zanar! I love Zanar!
Never heard of him.
Oh, I love Zanar.
So yeah, and he also won Triumph Hurdle. Triumph Hurdle winner, Zanar.
All right.
Yeah, orange.
Yes,
colours
beaten
in.
at
Yeah.
1-14.
Study up some 2010s racing.
Could we see another big shock here? John Bon, 1-20, I think he went off, starting price. And the two runners make their way on this 2 mile event. Aidan Coleman on John Bon, Harry Skelton on Calico as they come to this one popped over by John Bon. What do we even say, really? Just a gallop, isn't it? I mean, it's,
It must be very hard to commentate on, mate. I don't envy you.
No. I mean, what does Harry Skelton do in this situation? He doesn't want to get in the way of John. Not saying that obviously he wants John to go on and win, but he doesn't want to ruin everything for everyone by getting in the way and doing it.
I always think Calico, when I remember him over hurdles, he's ridden cold.
Yeah.
So this is probably the worst race for him. He'd probably prefer 7-8 runners and make his move. So I think John Bon was always going to lead and Calico would track. Calico, 26 career starts, just the 6 wins, was successful at Stubble, and that came in a handicap chase last time out by 12 lengths. Good leap there from John Bon on his way round. John Bon, of course, related to the great Douvan, brother to Douvan, bought 570,000. Again over that one in decent style. 8 runs so far, just the 7 wins. 1 defeat came at the hands of Constitution Hill, of course, by 22 lengths. In the Supreme.
A little bit out to his right.
Yeah.
If we're really trying to pick at anything.
I think, it's always pick on John Bon.
Yeah.
Made his debut at Warwick, of course, over fences, beating Monmorel on that occasion. Has since beat Boot Hill in good style in the Henry VIII Novices Chase. But it's just a difficult race to get a handle on, isn't it? He's just going to hope just a bit of a schooling session, really. Should never really come out of 3rd, 4th gear.
Yeah, essentially, and he's going to pick up 31k if he wins it. I mean, money for old road, really.
And if that money's spread out then for the other remaining places that we don't have now as well, I mean, what's Calico going to pick up?
11 grand.
Bubba said this race has everything you need to know about National Hunt racing in the UK. Has Bubba got a point there? We're dodging each other.
Bubba's got a point,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
Well, I
does.
mean,
To the Irish Arkle last week.
maybe there's like an overreaction from trainers regarding the ground as well. Like, just is that really going to do serious damage to their legs?
Well, if
when
you know
it's
if Nicky
good
Henderson's
ground?
running a horse, then you'd think no.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, yeah. So, missed opportunity from the sort of Bass Rocks and Haddocks to Zobos of this world,
Did they
potentially.
say about Haddocks as Obo it was a bruised foot or something? Did
Bruce
they say?
Foot, I think.
Oh, all right, fair enough. I wasn't
I'm
privy
not sure
to
about Bass Rock though.
That's a shame because I genuinely thought, whoa.
Hello.
What?
Calico has gone on here. John Bon.
I literally blinked and all of a sudden they reversed.
Oh, this would be nice.
John Bon 3 lengths behind in second. Aidan Coleman not pushing the panic button yet,
Ground.
but it's still
John
He's
Bond's.
not letting himself down on the ground.
Yeah, okay, he's back
Calico out in front. Are we about to see a huge upset here in the Kingmaker?
Oh,
Aidan Coleman now has got John Bon back travelling, you think, but this
oh no, he's got that one
Calico's
wrong.
made a bad error.
That got very
Now John
interesting.
Bon tries to come back alongside, but it's not easy work here for the Grade 1 scorer.
Fair play to
John
Harry
Bon now
Skelton.
does go ahead of Calico. It's a bit of a match race now. John Bon goes
John
ahead
Bond's
by about
winning
a
it
length.
now, but that was fun. That was fun for a second.
Yeah, at least it gave us
Concern
something.
for backers of John Bon if you did take the
He's
speed
fighting back,
120.
Calico.
Calico, this is a good little tussle. John Bon hasn't got this one yet.
Do
John
some
Bon, come to
figuring
the
out.
next.
Lad.
Was big over it. Calico on the inside. It's a good tussle, this. John Bon has been really tested by Calico. Is it the ground? Is he just not at full fitness? But it's still John Bon who now comes to the next. Over. Calico in second.
It's
Probably
Calico
about 2
it's
lengths
hard to see
behind
he's
them.
fighting back,
Aidan
isn't it?
Coleman has had to really get to work on John Bon. The Arkle favourite. This hasn't been plain sailing. Is going to come home and win the Kingmaker. But you'd be concerned for his Arkle prospects based on that run. Or do you just put it down to the ground or a lack of rivals? But John Bon in the end wins. A slight scare early on during the middle of the race. Calico did put it up to him in second. John Bon delivers the goods in the Kingmaker And already there's a bit of change on the market on the odds checker grids. 11 to 8 still available, but El Fabiolo has shortened now into around 7 to 4. So John Bon wins, but not impressively.
I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Way more than we thought.
Yeah. Me and Kate sort of like looked away, and then all of a sudden he just lost about 4 lengths. Did he make like a bad error? I think we might have missed something there, but he just.
I think he just stopped going into one.
Just stopped and then sort of like, okay, this is it.
Calico was coming up his inside then. So he was ever so slightly slow over one, and Harry Skelton just decided to take up the mantle there and thought, well, this is my opportunity. We know Harry Skelton around Warwick, and the fact that he attacks those fences down the back, and he literally is just all of a sudden lifted the pace there, and John Bon just got caught napping a bit and didn't have that instant response after he was just going through the motions through the race.
It's good. That's a good piece of race riding, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just injecting
Harry
a bit of
Skelton.
pace, like just completely changed it up. Maybe he wasn't happy at how quick they were going. And for a second, I'd love to know what he's trading in running, because I'd have been if you'd taken that 1 to 20, and some people out there would have done. They were a bit scared for quite a bit.
Not just maybe the ground on the quick side as well for him. Would it jarred up?
I think so. Like I say, he just wasn't fully letting himself down. We know he carries his head. He never would have it on the floor because he's a quick horse, and that's why he gets away from his fences so well, and he's such a solid and safe jumper because he keeps his head and neck very level, so he never sort of dips and nods as such. But because of that, it does make it look as though he wasn't fully letting himself down on that ground either. We spoke about the ground beforehand, that Nicky Henderson was obviously happy with it, and we know that Cheltenham is a be-all of end-all for Nicky, so if it wasn't safe, he wouldn't have run him on it, so we're not saying that. But yeah, he definitely looks a horse where he would be happy with a little bit more ease in it, but yeah, not what we were going to expect. And like I say, I'm looking at the odds checker markets here now and see if blue about El Fabiolo, and then we've got the red on John Bon's chances now.
Big news. El Fabiolo is now your new Arkle favourite. John Bon has drifted out to a high of 2 to 1.
Like an hour ago.
El Fabiolo is now your general even money. I'm seeing here on Paddy Power and other prices around 11 to 10, 5 to 4 mark. But John Bon pushed out by the bookmakers after his workmanlike success in the Kingmaker.
I wouldn't want that 2 to 1. No,
I said Dynamo. Now there's a blue for him. He's now 5 to 1.
Blue. Are you getting this live? now as well.
So interesting. The Arkle market has been tipped on its head.
It's just so frustrating that Haddix wasn't there for us to see how good he was, because he was rated much higher than Calico.
He would have put some. Gosh, I know.
They weren't worried about the ground for him. That's what I didn't think, at least. But so it's the Stonebrews that ruled him out. I mean,
that would have been fascinating with him in here to putting the pace to the race and exactly how. I mean, John Bon could have been even more impressive then because he would have had a proper run to it. Or Haddix's Oboe could have put himself into the picture. And again, we're talking hypothetically, we don't know. It will be interesting to hear Aidan Coleman's interview because he has always been a very, very defensive over John Bon. You know, the fact that he sort of looks quite hot-headed down at the start. He sweats, he jig-jogs about. And Aidan has always been very quick to shut down any kind of doubters about John Bon. But I wonder how he's going to explain that sort of that flat spot really about John Bon and whether or not, but he could put the positive spin on it and say, well, at least he's learned something here. At least he actually had a horse head him for once in a race.
Yeah, that's one angle.
And he's then battled back. So you could put the positive spin on it, but yeah, thank goodness we said that thing about El Fabiolo an hour ago.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Great, we're not after timers now.
I've been slagging off John Bon for quite a while, so I was quite happy to see that. Well, I'm not slagging him, I still like him, but it's just like sometimes you need to, if a horse is overhyped, you need to like say if you think that's incorrect.
Have we got another bit of a bubble burst though for another British horse? This week we've had Queen's Gamble turned over for the Champion Bumper. We had Rare Edition in the Sydney Banks as one of our, if not our leading supreme hope. Now we had John Bon was basically our only Union Jack flag bearer then for the Arkle. Have we got another hope dashed there, or are we still holding on to that, or are the Irish just going to absolutely destroy us?
It's just annoying Haddix wasn't there, because say Haddix came out and won that 5 lengths, John Bon ain't 2 to 1, is he? He's all of a sudden he's out to sort of 7, 8 to 1 for that.
Yeah.
So Martin Lewis, the money man's back in touch. Just like I've said for the past 6 months, biggest lay Cheltenham has ever seen is John Bon. Jake Galloway, John Bon went to 3 to 1 in running apparently.
Wow.
Jeez.
I would have thought a few punters would have taken that. Fair play. He got 3 to 1 out of a 1 to 20 shot.
Yeah, true. That's
Bubba,
true.
how far does El Fabiolo win the Arkle by?
5. Oh. I think he's a very, very, very good horse.
I think he'll love Cheltenham as well. I think the stiff test will suit him even more based on a Leopardstown win.
Sure.
Haddix des Oboe 25s for the Arkle. What about him at a big price?
Oh, yeah, it's just
a soft ground.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Well, I mean, I wasn't necessarily concerned about him on good either. Gary Moore apparently said that this is Source Perfect trip would probably 1 mile 6, to be honest. Like, he's got that much speed. 1 mile 6 chase. They don't exist in Britain, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just frustrating that Haddox has come. It's just that Stonebridge has happened at all the wrong time. We'd have learnt more about John Bon there. So it's still a bit of a guess-up, isn't it? But you can't argue with the drift in the Arkle.
At least we've got a massive amount of conversation to go out where we did not think we were going to learn.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Today.
Yeah. I thought
Yeah. Who said that at the start of the show?
Who'd have thought that was going to be the highlight of this entire session? So.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think I'm now seeing it's 3-1 in running, as we said, John Bon, and now as big as 2-1 for the Arkle. 7-4 general favourite El Fabiolo, but as short as even money. Let us know, are you going to be with El Fabiolo, or are you maybe looking at Dice at Dynamo or elsewhere for the Arkle after that effort from John Bon? Next up for us is going to be the 3 o'clock at Newbury. Grenadine is your 4-7 favourite, ahead of Melistic and Funambule Savola, both at 5s, and Elixir Donuts at 8s. One thing we always touch on, Robbie, is the strength of the British team, especially in the Grade 1s. Obviously, we thought we had quite a bomb-proof there earlier on this season in terms of Constitution Hill and John Bon on the opening day. Maybe Epatante in the Mayor's Hurdle as well. Are you concerned maybe that we don't have the, apart from Constitution Hill, is there a really strong British fancy for you?
Not
in
really.
those
big Grade 1s?
Not really. No, I think I've still not given up complete on Protectorate in the Gold Cup, but he's got a big price. But there's none really that stand. Maybe the Stayers, Marie's Rock, if she went there, should be quite interesting. But yeah, it's going to be Irish domination again, I'd say for sure.
Okay.
No, I'm just sort of looking through now. Okay, Supreme, I'm going Marine Nationale, Arkle, El Fabiolo, Champion Hurdle, Constitution Hill. We can literally hold him. Mayor's Hurdle, which is looking like one of the best races of the entire week. Can't wait for that. But yeah, if Marie's Rock does go elsewhere, though, to let Epatante in there, then you have a few doubts unless the rain comes down for Love Envoy. Still, potentially, then about her. Yeah, Ballymore, I don't think we're going to win that even with Hermes Allen. Are we still holding on to that?
Good Land is...
I think Good Land's right.
Team Connell looked to have a good team.
Connell with the 2 now, yeah. So, no, Gold Cup, no, I don't think that's going to go to the Irish. Yeah, Brown Advisory, no.
It's Constitution to fly the flag for sure.
Yeah.
And he will be flying it, make no mistake.
Yeah, concerns then looking ahead to the British fancies. Honeysuckle, just a quick word on decision to go to the Mares. Do you think it's the right decision? Would you have maybe retired, or would you have given one last hurrah?
Definitely don't retire. She's just finished second in a Grade 1. Now they've got nothing to lose really. The air of what am I saying? Invincibility. That's just disappeared now. So I say keep going until she shows that she's not got the appetite. She still ran a very good race at Leopardstown. I mean, there's a chance that State Man is probably, it's quite simply the best hurler she's ever faced, like in any generation. So I wouldn't necessarily say she's like massively on the decline, but the fact that she ain't going to beat State Man, she ain't going to beat Constitution Hill on the Champion Hurdle, getting the Mayor's Hurdle, I wouldn't even say she's necessarily going to win that, because I can't remember a better Mayor's Hurdle, to be honest. But I think you've got to be pragmatic. You've got to look at the most winnable race, and even though it's competitive, she's got a better chance of winning that than the Champion. So for me, it's a no-brainer.
Kate?
I beforehand I was really against it, because I thought, the Champion, going to defend her crown yet again in the Champion Hurdle, it just feels the right place for her to go if she's going to bow out. They said this was her final season anyway, so it just felt like it was right. But then you have to think it's probably not right by the horse. It's not obviously going to be cruel on her, but you're not going to win. You're not going to win the Champion Hurdle. You're not going to beat Constitution Hill. You're not going to beat State Man. That's now been proven. So why not give her every chance to sign out on a high? She's still going to get the same applause, the same crowd at Cheltenham then, where she's going to bow out, at the Coliseum of National Hunt Racing. So no, I am now very much with it. I'm happy they haven't retired her, because the appetite she still showed last time out to bag second it showed that the fire still burns within her, and to be able to do that, she just hasn't got the ability that she once had. So no, I'm pleased that they're going to do that. But like we just said about the Grade 1s, in my opinion, we are struggling. Lucia hopefully will post an impressive display tomorrow at Exeter. She's got Lallygag to take on there, though.
Nick Walker said the British will win the Champion Chase.
With Edwardstone.
Newbury.
Or Editor de Gite or Edwardstone.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I think that's a bit of a 50-50, really.
So we've got Champion Chase, Mares Novices Hurdle, Champion Hurdle, maybe the Ballymore.
Yeah, it's not massive, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe one.
Maybe the Gold
out
Cup
of
if
a
you
bottle
think
there, I don't know.
protectorate.
Yeah.
The more rain, the better. Mally D says for
I don't know,
protectorate.
but we're all British, aren't we? Like, does that really bother you? It doesn't bother me. To be honest.
There's a good one from Aleem here. John wants to go for the Grand Annual. Not good enough for the Arkle.
I like the way he's thinking.
Good you. But okay, right, let's move on then.
I work for the Irish in that week anyway, so I don't care. I'm Irish for the week
days,
anyway.
The Game Spirit Chase, £70,000 event, Grade 2 contest, over 2 miles, 4 to 7 Grenadine, 5 for Melistic and Funambule Civilar, Elixir Donuts at 8, and Mortlock is your outsider at 40s. Are we looking beyond Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden here, Kate?
Yeah, why not? The only way I've got to
Go on, let's do it.
Going for? Well, let's have a trade then. Come on.
Okay, oh gosh, on my one. Yeah, this is my least opinion of the day, but if I see Grenadine, I don't know why. It's a similar case with Edwardstone where why do I keep wanting to take him on? But I just keep doing. Yeah, that good English, Kate. I mean, he's clearly the best horse in this race. He's going to take all the beating. He's priced up, arguably, some people may say not even accordingly. But yeah, he is. But Funambule Savola, he wants good ground. He's got this sort of short, sharp stride on him, and he just wants to bounce off of quick ground. Now, we've seen this horse to no sort of effect this season whatsoever. But if he can just revert back to the run when he finished second in the Champion Chase, that is enough to fend off. Well, we've lost Mortlack now in this race, but it's definitely enough to fend off Melistic and Elixir de Nuts. But yeah, his price, even with that non-runner, obviously hasn't shortened up. But yeah, Funambule Savola, I think, is just sort of a small stakes way for me to take on Grenadine in this contest. But really, Grenadine should be winning. But
Not something you see often. Nicky Anderson's tweeted. John Bourne comes through what was a straightforward task in the Kingmaker unscathed and retains his unbeaten record over fences. Next stop, Cheltenham. Don't always see that after a race. I just think that's a bit
straight away, like that.
A bit strange.
Yeah, that's
It's almost a bit defensive, that. Trying to justify. I don't know.
Surprising.
Yeah, I think maybe he's worried that people are going to give John Bourne a bit of stick for that performance, which
he's tried to nip it
people
in the
can.
bud.
Yeah, I think so.
Go on, Robbie.
Grenadine.
We putting on the bet here on
Oh yeah, so you want Funambule, yeah?
Yeah, course and distance specialist or course specialist again. We saw Zanza going in, so 2 from 3 at Newbury, Funambule Savola, bounce
Score
off
on.
the ground. Well, yeah, we've
Good
only
luck
got
to you.
one place to go out now, haven't we, as
Score on.
well? So
Robbie, who are you with?
Grenadine. I thought he was the most solid of all these odds-on favs today. I think he doesn't really get the credit he deserves, to be honest. Proper 170 horse. On 9 of his last 11 starts, he's run to an RPI of 164. One of those was in the Halden Gold Cup off top weight, where he was trying to give £17 to Eldorado and Hitman. The other one was when he went over to Dublin. Obviously didn't like it over there. Nicholstead was out of form. This is a proper top-class horse. He just should win this. I don't see. I know Funambule Savola finished second in a Champion Chase last year. That race sort of fell apart. The other two not up to it. I mean, just look at the figures. He's £15 clear of Funambule off level weights. 8-15 is pretty fair, to be honest. But for race and post purposes, we're on Funambule Savola. So best of luck.
Right, let's have a look on the socials. Aleem has been back in touch. Favourite cannot possibly lose here. Best bet of the day. Never been more confident. Vortex Fitness. Grenadine is a lump on. Bubba thinks it's a shocking renewal with the Game Spirit, which I think is pretty fair to say. Vortex has been in the back on again. Zanzart and a Glorian Fortune.
Vortex.
Vortex Fitness.
Some name.
Your YouTube.
Personal trainer.
I'd agree though. It's a poor Game Spirit.
yeah, when you saw Altior won it 3 years in a row. I mean, Funambule Savola, bless him, won this last year as well. And then when you've got the likes of Sprinter Sacra, Dura Wishful Thinking. I rode him actually as well, Wishful Thinking. He was great. He was mad.
Great horse.
Lovely horse. Mastermind, a Deserti up Well Chief, all your big 2-mile chases of yesteryear. It's not great, is it?
Although last year's wasn't fantastic. Was it So Royal, Hitman and Sky Pirate, the forerunners?
Yeah,
along with
didn't
Funambule
Sky
in that
Pirate
one?
go out and do well post this race?
Yeah.
So at least it's a race you can take some sort of takeaways maybe for down the line with, but yeah.
Okay, Game Spirit time. As Kate says, recent winners include Wishful Thinking back in 2013. Mr. Mole, 2015. Of course, Mr. Mole's famous because that was Rishi Prasad got the scoop from AP McCoy afterwards that he'd be retiring at the end of the season. That's what that race is famous for. Top Gamble won it in 2016. Altior 17, 18 and 20. So Royal in 2021. And Funambule Savola as Kate said last year. But yeah, 8 to 15 favourite, 4 to 7 there for Grenadine, 5 to 2 for Malistic and Funambule Sivilla. Elixir Donuts at 8. Mortlock also now non-runner, so we just have these 4 runners in this contest. Grenadine, a warm order to add his name to the list, which includes Viking Flagship Uberales, World Chief, Masterminded, Sprinter Sacra, and more. Grenadine, you'd have to say, sorry, Kate, is on good ground. He could give plenty of champion chasers a good tussle on this sort of ground. This is where he's at his best, on better ground. Yeah,
definitely so. And like you say, and he is still, I know some people have talked about him still as a live kind of outsider then for the champion chase itself, given how open it is. I tell a lie about Sky Pirate. I was getting my Grand Annual years confused. That was the year prior.
I did think that.
Yeah, prior to last year.
I'll let her get
You let her get. No, he actually ran not that well in last year's Grand Annual.
No longer with us either. R.I.P. Sky Pirate.
Oh, I know. That's a shame.
3 o'clock Newbury then, here we go, Game Spirit time. I think then we're going to bring you the 3:13 from Warwick, and then of course the feature is the Betfair Hurdle at 3:35. Harry Cobden looks like he wants to be prominent on Grenadine. 4 runners again for the second year in succession for the Game Spirit Chase. Grade 2.
Here we go, a bush.
It's going to be Funambule Sivilla who does go out in front, the defending champ for Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams. Grenadine slightly lit up as he comes to the first. Jumps it sensibly, ahead of Elixir Donuts on the inside and the gap back to Malistic. Good to see Peter Niven with another big runner. Clever Cookie, of course, was his stable star for a long time. Malistic lines up now for him in this Grade 2 event. But to the second, decent clip up front. Funambule Sivilla and Elixir Donuts ahead of Grenadine and then Malistic. But anything early to say?
I will say that Grenadine was pulling hard, and he still kind of is. Maybe settled a little bit better, but be slightly concerned by that for sure.
That used to be a real trait of his, wasn't it? Was trying to get him to learn how to settle. And when he won at Sandown there previously under Bryony there, and it was sort of because he had been settled and they went a mad pace and went through. And again, it was a reason where loads of people used to sort of knock him for that run because he managed to win basically because of the pace that they went. But yeah, he does take a bit of settling and he is keen enough there in this small runner field.
Grenadine, £15 clear on official ratings, so should run plenty below his best and still prove strong enough, but remains to be seen, the 9-year-old. Ahead, Funambule Sivilla in front, 8-year-old for Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams. Elixir Donuts, who returned to form for Brendan Powell and Joe Tizard last time out. That was a good win at Wincanton in Handicap company. Step back up to graded efforts here, then Grenadine, and then Malistic at the back of the field. So sensible. Grenadine looks to have... he's not pulling as hard now and he's jumping with aplomb, Rob.
Yeah, much more like it now. I imagine he'd be a little bit short in running than once was the case. Yeah, no real worries. It was just, will those early exertions take it out of him? I'm not sure, but we'll have to see.
Nothing really to report, is there, Kate? It's pretty. It's a bit like the John Bomb race. Nothing really happening, and then it will suddenly explode.
Don't look away. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't blink, or else you might miss something. Yeah, Elixir Donuts were expected to be the sole pace angle really in this race, but Funambule Sivilla has been taken forwards. He was pretty keen early on as well. Unlike Fania Destraval, his stablemate in our last race, racing very, very differently here, up with the pace. He loves. He's another one. He's physically he's like Fania Destraval, where he's this small horse with kind of a choppy stride, but he really attacks his fences. And now Grenadine is just steadying himself down there. He's finally conceded to settle. Malistic just hoping to pick up any pieces, I guess, they're under Danny McMenamin. Yeah,
Grenadine in second now. Funambule Sivilla out in front. Elixir Donuts and then Malistic at the back of the field. Champion Chase betting at the minute. 13 to 8 favourite is an Ergamine ahead of Edwardstone. Grenadine currently a best price of 14 to 1. Elixir Donuts made a bit of an error there and has now come under pressure under Brendan Powell. And then Malistic back in fourth. At the moment, looks like a match race between Grenadine and Funambule Sivilla as they turn in, Kate.
Oh, a little Funambule. Yeah, look at the size difference between the pair of these two. Yeah, that's it. This fence is always tricky, so it's going to be interesting to see who gets the best leap out of this one. Or into the air together, landed perfectly together as well. Grenadine just coming under pressure. Come on, Funambule.
In sync at the moment. Funambule Sivilla. Charlie Deutsch has not pressed the accelerator yet. Grenadine in second. They go towards the second last. Ooh. They take it as one, but it's still Funambule in front. Are we going to see another upset here? Grenadine.
Come on, Funambule.
Cobden now gets to
work.
Elixir Donuts is also rallying under pressure. It's Funambule Sivilla out in front. Elixir Donuts is also rallying. Charlie Deutsch has not pressed the accelerator yet. Still out in front. Funambule Sivilla. Grenadine got plenty of work to do from there. Elixir Donuts is the one who is staying on as they come to the final fence. It's still out in front.
Lovely
Funenball,
straight.
Sivler and over. Now Elixir Donuts is the one rallying on the outside, but Funenball, Sivler. Charlie Deutsch now gets to work on Venetia Williams' charge, and he's staying on strongly. Elixir Donuts in second, Grenadine third, Malistic in fourth, Funenball, Sivler. 2022-2023, defending champion in the game spirit. Funenball, Sivler wins. Well done, Kate Tracey. Second place, Elixir Donuts.
Thank you very much.
Third place for Grenadine, and in fourth, Malistic. Another shock result. Grenadine beaten. Well done, Kate.
Thank
Good
you.
performance.
Yeah, lots of shock results today. Yeah, I was getting a bit of stick on Twitter actually about that. I tipped them up there earlier on in the week. I did go each way, so probably fair enough really with the stick, with the 2 places on offer. I just couldn't fully commit to backing him to win, and again now, even though he's won, I'm slightly annoyed that I didn't just back him to win. 7-1.
Wow.
Oh gosh, but yeah, he's just a different horse on better ground. He really just bounces off it. You see that stride that he has. He's only a little horse, and he just was getting bogged down in the swamps that he was racing in. But he won this race last year. Coming back here was the notable target then for him, and you just saw as they were turning into the home straight there. Grenadine, he loomed up, but because of those early exertions, we touched on why he was keen, couldn't get the cover in a smaller runner race. They jumped this tricky fence beautifully, the pair of them, but he just got away quick enough then, Funenball Savola, from Grenadine, and the writing was on the wall thereafter. Elixir Donuts has run an interesting race, up there in the vanguard early on, dropped back and has stayed on again. So yeah, you wonder where he might go next time out. But no, really, yeah, pleased with that. But it definitely looks like Elixir Donuts wants to step back up in trip.
Kate Tracey out in front, 15 points. Archer second, Wilder's in third. Only 4 points though separating us with 2 races still to go. But a good performance from Funenball Sivler. Of course, he was second in the Champion Chase last year to Energumene, 8.5 lengths behind on that occasion. 2 from 3 at Newbury coming into this, now 3 from 4. It's a day for the Newbury fanboys, Robbie. Zanzar and now Funenball Sivler.
Yeah, absolutely. Very poor from Grenadine, yeah. He's really not run to form. Whether it's something at this time of year, I don't know, or the ground, but yeah, that was flat. I mean, I thought he was rock solid, and fair play to Kate. She's pulled it out of the fire.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Well beaten in the end, Grenadine. Funenball Sivler wins. In second place, Elixir Donuts returned 7-1. Your SP for the winner, 7-1 as well for Elixir Donuts. So Grenadine can't even finish in the first 2 in that game spirit.
I have heard before, Daryl Carter, my good friend and colleague, he has said about Grenadine, he has one big run a year. And yes, he ran respectively last time out in the Tingle Creek behind Edwardstone, but you wonder, first time up, to do what he did in the Holden Gold Cup again under that massive weight, you wonder if it maybe didn't fully show last time out the mark that it left, but you wonder if it maybe did just leave a little bit of a mark on him, because as I say, Daryl Carter, he has always said about this horse, he has one really big run a season, so maybe that was it.
Tom Leach has said about the flu jabs with Nichols. Obviously, they ate them in January, but I think they were flying just after the flu jabs. Maybe it's delayed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, is there enough in that? I don't know. His strike rate hasn't seemed to really dip too much lately, but I just think he's just not run that well. Horses don't always perform.
A bad day for Paul Nichols at Newbury so far. Can it get better in the Betfair Hurdle? But Funenball Sivler, 25-1 quote on our screen for the Champion Chase. 25 as well for Grenadine, who's been pushed out following that disappointing effort.
Weird day, innit, of results.
I've just seen someone on Twitter said, hearing a report from Warwick that John Bond got booed walking back in by a selection
That's
of the
unacceptable. That's
No,
unacceptable.
he did not. Surely not.
Someone's on the wind up there.
Yeah, that's awful if that's the case.
Surely.
Let's see, however, that's a wind-up. But Funenball Sivler, a good winner of that event. 3:13 at Warwick now, next up. One for the Only Fools and Horses fans here, Hollenbach, 4-9 favourite, ahead of Gitchy Gumi at 5-2, Byron Hill at 8-1 for this 3:13 at Warwick. We've got a few more runners, though, for this one. I think we got 10 runners for this Novices Hurdle. 2-5 for Hollenbach, tough to oppose here.
What's the Holson Fools and Horses reference, by the way?
Yeah, I was
Hollenbach, it's an episode.
Is it?
They go
It's actually episode's called
Yeah, they go to.
I thought it was the song Hollaback. What's that song?
I thought it was a song Hellenbach. So,
okay,
you think Hollaback Girl.
Hollaback Girl as well.
Yeah,
There you go, we're covering it all here.
Our cultural references, the difference between the three.
Yeah, there you go.
Highlighted in one horse's name.
I'm the youngest as well, I think, aren't I, Holly?
Are you?
Oh, yeah, you are.
Are you? How old are you?
Disgraceful. 25, 26. God, young.
Are you actually? God, I feel so...
29.
21, Kate?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
We're similar age, aren't we, me and
+8.
you?
Yeah, I think you're a few months older, are you?
Yeah, August.
Yeah.
August 93.
Yeah.
The 2nd.
Good. I'm August the 5th. God, we're all close.
August the 5th. What do you want to do this year, Matt? On RP Live.
Yeah, why not? Let's get your selections then. Hull and back in this 3:13, 4 minutes till the off.
Yeah, it has to be, unfortunately. For me, this is one that we actually get runners to go at with this race as well, but I think it's a pretty weak Novices Hurdle. For a Saturday at Warwick, I think this is pretty weak. And I was trying desperately to take him on everywhere I could, and Glitcher Gummy is the only one to take him on with, but he's priced up accordingly. And of the rest of them, I cannot find my each way angle into this race. It really is much of a muchness about the rest. So it would just basically be a stab in the dark for an each way play about the remainder. So to be honest with you, I'm just going to have to stick with Hull and back in the hope that he just has more to offer and can give the weight away to some of his rivals here under the penalty.
Yeah, it's just the ground is the only concern, isn't it? He's not raced on good. I mean, it does sometimes find horses out. And the second in, Gitchy Gummy, got a lot to find really on the official figures, but he has won on good ground. So that's kind of why I can see why some punters are going for him. But Hull and back, I mean, he's come out and he's beaten Newbury Lion in pretty good style last time. Newbury Lion came out and finished third in the Tolworth. That's good form, isn't it? 4 months off, that's quite a long time. I don't know, has there been a slight hold up? So you think there's maybe a couple of concerns, but it's very hard to look away from him for me.
Okay, Jay has been in touch. You are all kids.
We are indeed,
we
Jay.
are.
Long may that continue.
How did you actually get into the sport, Robbie? I've never asked
good
you.
Good question, mate. It was basically through an intrigue in gambling when I was 18. So I'd started out putting bets on football, and then I saw racing was on, and then that became kind of a bit of an intriguing puzzle. So basically, it just fueled through gambling. If it wasn't for that, then I'd have no interest. Take away betting, I'm not watching this. Basically. Well, I think that's the same for a lot of people, though, isn't it? Do you reckon?
So I think a few, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, gambling's a big part of the sport anyway, but depends how much of an affinity I guess you have with just loving horses and horse racing.
Oh yeah, I don't come. Well. Yeah, I was more of a cat man growing up, to be honest. But, yeah, it's just not none of my family at all like racing at all.
That didn't go where I thought it was going to go. No. Do you like cats?
I
Kate?
love cats.
Oh, okay.
I've got 2 of my own.
Kate, what about you? How was your entry into the sport?
Literally, when I was 5 years old, and my dad was massively into all sports, but racing hadn't sort of caught his attention by then anyway. And I remember we used to go to football and things loads, and one day up at my grandparents actually just they live near Warwick, but we went down to Worcester one day. It was like, well, what should we do for the day? Took me down to Worcester, and it was the worst day's racing you've ever seen in your life, like so bad. But I had the best day ever. I can still remember now, a horse called Red Radish got loose and was running around for like half an hour before the bumper. And from that moment, I was just hooked on the sport and literally just said, I do not want to do anything else with my life. And weirdly, it's worked out. But yeah, so no, it was just a love of that. And I never had horses or anything like that growing up. Got some riding lessons then because of racing, and started riding horses for different people. And yeah, and just said I always wanted to get into racing then. So it's been, I would not know what else to do with my life.
Was it hard to get into media, or did you find it the barriers to entry, or was it okay?
It was tricky. There were certain barriers where, you know, when you're just a groom, and from sort of, you know, no racing background or anything like that, it was pretty tricky. But my first opportunity came through the Racing Post, through our own Bruce Millington.
Yeah, I was thinking that happened.
Yeah,
didn't it?
that
You wrote to Bruce.
Yeah, I basically had a moan.
Yeah,
about
and Bruce was like, "Do you want to write a piece?"
Really?
Yeah, he gave me kind of a right of reply, basically, now that I've learned, but since I've gone to journalism school, I've learned all about that, and a right of reply, and it was on the front page for next day, which was a bit bizarre. And from then, it's kind of all progressed really with media. And I like talking, so...
Yeah,
you do, yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked in pensions.
What, did you?
About 5 years ago, and then just
Cats and pensions?
left. Yeah,
What a route.
Yeah. Not linked, are they? So yeah, kind of different. We've all got what about you, Dan?
Yeah.
One was a Racing Post as well. 15. Really? Yeah, I did a week under Tony Smurthwaite.
Oh yeah, still here.
Yeah, the assistant.
Just call him the GOAT.
Editor. Yeah, he got me all sorts. He got me into a company called Race News. I don't know if you've heard of them. They used to do press releases for race courses, so it actually acts as their race is off, by the way, this race at Warwick 3:13. So they would do that for me. So yeah, they would.
Work experience, and then
he got me. He's a guy called Mark Popham, who Think of Alex Ferguson, but smaller, but hairdryer. He had a strong reputation, but he was very helpful, and then it kind of went from there.
So you survived him and thought, if I could survive this,
I can do anything.
For me. And but you do loads of other sports.
But I prefer racing.
So you two, did you two go to Canary Wharf off this?
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Is that? Oh no, were you?
This is the only time I've ever been in here.
Yeah, I was post Canary Wharf days as well.
Sorry, we've given you our potted history, but now the 3:13 at Warwick. Then back to this contest.
All still standing.
And it is the Jolly actually who's out in front for Jack Hogan. Hull and back. Fergal O'Brien having another good season. Brought up the 100 already this year. Gitchy Gumi in second for Tom Cannon and Alan King. Then I get back to Byron Hill, and then plenty of stragglers at the back. They're already pretty well separated after a couple of furlongs. But Hull and back out in front. No rule change in the order. I think fourth place there is Sabino, and then a gap back to the likes of Teller Sue, Two Conduit, and more. But favourite backers, no real concerns at the moment.
Not really. He's got a nice enough lead, hasn't he? I have to say the second, Gitchy Gummy. It's kind of hard to say that, isn't it?
I know, I keep getting tripped up.
It's quite a weird name. Just hurling really nicely, which is what I will say. But no alarm bells for the favourite backers just yet.
Kate, nothing to really add? Or?
No, nothing to add really. So this is what you want to see when you've got what I thought looked Novices Hurdle, plenty of runners at least, which we can't bash because of today. But it did look a weak contest. So what you want to do is you just want to send your odds on favourite out in front, set your own fractions. He's not getting any pace pressure either of any of those in behind. A few of those are just going around with it, learning, doing a lot of learning in the process as well there. So yeah, very straightforward. And if he gets beat here now, then fair enough. You've got no excuses.
You said about Queen's Gamble getting beat earlier on this week. Of course, Fergal O'Brien trained the winner there, Dysart Enos, who's now 12-1 for the champion bumper. Probably looks now the leading hope for Britain in the bumper. 12-1 judging.
So.
He won that pretty well though. She won it pretty well, and it was only a second. Wasn't it a second start? I think.
They did say about Queen's Gamble that this isn't the end goal for her, and with Rare Edition as well, that was kind of a testing the waters to see Supreme or Ballymore, I think, because the way that Santos and Davis pushed him off of the home turn then was really to kind of test for stamina, I think. So you can say for both of those, well, one was perhaps a tester to see what race to go for Cheltenham, the other one wasn't fully tuned because Cheltenham's the end goal. But even so, we are dwindling a little bit.
The two market rivals now coming to the fore here. Hull and back still out in front and Gitchy Gumi in second. Champion bumper, by the way, It's For Me is your general 7-2 favourite for Woody Mullins, ahead of A Dream to Share and Fun. Both were impressive winners at the Dublin Racing Festival. Still out in front though, Hull and back, who now being nudged along slightly.
Sabino's running quite well, isn't he?
Yeah, Sabino is staying on well as well for Sheena West in behind, but it's still out in front, Hull and back here, who's bidding to defy a penalty under 11 stone 7. Gitchy Gumi also under 11 stone 7, and the two market rivals now go on. Jack Hogan on Hull and back out in front.
That one, didn't he?
The white bit out.
He took it with him, Gitchy Gumi, but still out in front is Hull and back, and this, if can jump this nice, it looks a ready success for Hull and back. He's over just about, Gitchy Gumi in second, but never really out of third or fourth gear. Hull and back will record successive wins.
Oh, he's really lengthening now, isn't he?
Yeah, Jack Hogan making sure he's got the victory.
The way he finished that.
And Hull and back was one of about 10-15 lengths in the end. So he's off Gitchy Gumi in second.
He might even have an entry. Does he have an entry in that?
Byron Hill in third.
Hull
and back.
We'll have a look.
Nice performance. Successful at Taylock in November.
He does, yeah.
Entered for the Supreme and the Ballymore.
16-1 for the Ballymore.
So
I like the way the last 100 yards there was pretty impressive. It looked like he was just going to win by sort of five lengths or so, but he's won by about 20 then, isn't he?
Yeah, good
Fair
performance.
Yeah.
He's in a good author.
Liam's been back in touch. Edward Stone, Lossymouth, Mighty Potter, my treble for Cheltenham.
Say that again, sorry?
Edward Stone, Lossymouth, and Mighty Potter.
Yeah, Turners.
Big chances.
Triumph and Champion Chase, and yeah, definitely wouldn't put any of those away. Mighty Potter, for some reason, he's one of, where we say about horses, cliff horses, and we have like the opposite of those cliff horses where you have horses that you just keep taking on. Mm-hmm. For some reason, Mighty Potter's that for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it's because he was such a hype horse before last year's festival, and he disappointed, that I think I've just have it in my head where I'm going to take him on. And over fences, he's been so impressive, but I'm still like, I'll still take him on.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's weird he's won 4 Grade 1s. Like, that's what seems to have happened quite quickly. He's not really been around too long, has he? But a brilliant horse, yeah. I don't know what's going to beat him in the Turners, but I think I'll probably try and take him on as well with UK.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom Leach has got Blood Destiny 40 to 1 for the Triumph Hurdle. So that's not a
40?
bad
How
one to
far
be
out
on.
did he
It's a
put that
serious
on?
ticket, that.
3 to 1 now for the Triumph
Yeah,
Hurdle.
It's a serious ticket.
can you ask?
He must have done it
Get
straight
back in touch,
after he's
yeah.
won his maiden hurdle.
When
back
did
in
you get
touch
that
with us,
on?
please.
Let us
Maybe like
know.
just as he was crossing the line in the maiden hurdle. That's cracky. Yeah, he looked bloody good on his last start.
Yeah.
My best is probably, this is Jake Comfort Zone in the Triumph at 12 to 1. So I think he's around a
It's not,
similar.
don't think that's great, Jake. No offence, man. Is that a great price?
He actually says up here, my Cheltenham Anti-Post is a complete mess, so he's even honest about it. As
Oh,
well.
fair enough.
Well done
Sorry
to
for calling you
Anil,
out, mate.
who had Byron Hill each way, I think, in that race at Warwick, and I think stayed on to take third. So a bit of each way money there as well. Dave has put from pensions to the postman.
It's so nice. Stick that in my Twitter bio.
Pensions to the postman. No
Are pensions boring to work on?
So boring, mate.
As
I had no
people think?
passion for it. They were trying to sort of egg me on at the time, management. Like, oh, do you want to do your exam, sort of get qualified? I was like, yeah. Kicking the can down the road. But I was sat there watching Cheltenham Festival at work when I shouldn't have been doing it, when I should have been doing some sort of admin at work. But yeah, rather be here, certainly, mate.
So someone didn't get their pension, their full paperwork through there.
I wasn't very senior, to be honest. I sort of left it to the experts.
No one was relying on you to.
Certainly not. If they were, then
Sat there still waiting.
unlucky, basically.
Not a race we're showing in terms of ITV coverage, but one which could have a telling effect on the Cheltenham Festival is this Opera Hat Mare's Chase, which is coming up at Naas, this 3:25, 5 minutes until the off there. So get the guys' thoughts on this, because you've got leading contenders for the Paddy Power Mare's Chase at the festival, like Dino Blue, Magic Days and Ellie May. Ellie May, of course, in the race last year. 4 to 1 for this Opera Hat. Dino Blue, I think you gave a good nod to Dino Blue at the top of the show.
Yeah,
didn't you, Rob?
I napped her up on What a Shout yesterday, but I didn't think she was going to be odds on at all. I thought, because the fact Townend's riding Ellie May, I was thinking that Ellie May would probably favourite. But the market is sort of doesn't give that away anymore. She's 4 to 5. And she opened up second favourite for sure. But yeah, really like her. She traded at 1 to 6 in running to beat Impervious on her last start. Just outstayed by a better mare there. But Impervious is now favourite for the Mare's Chase after beating the boys, giving them weight next time out. So I think that's really good form. She's getting £12 from Ellie May. Ellie May, 9 years old now. She's slightly past her best. Better over 2.5 as well. So yeah, I think Dino Blue wins this pretty well.
Impervious, as Robbie says, 7 to 4 favourite for the Mare's Chase, but Allegory de Vassi as well, 7 to 4 joints in many places for that Mare's Chase. Dino Blue currently 20 to 1 for the mares, with Ellie May available at 16. So interested to see if that market changes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Dino Blue's just a very quick horse, so I wouldn't be sure about her over the extra sort of half a mile. But I think this is definitely a good horse. Like, she was going off short prices for Grade 1s last year for the Mullins team. Very unexposed. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm glad we're actually talking about this, because it's going to be quite informative, I think. Yeah.
Tom fancies Scarlet and Dove, and Tom was back in touch. I bet Blood Destiny before it ran. French form looked good to me.
Wow.
Get Tom on here.
That's crazy, yeah.
Play.
Take my place, mate.
Very good performance. Jake Galloway, I love Mighty Potter and think he's class. But that run in the Supreme last year worries you. Maybe we're making too much of it.
It does worry me though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's naturally got to be a slight concern, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just want to take him on. Yeah, anywhere I can. I might even take on your Dino Blue here as well, because anyway,
Nah, you can't. Sorry.
I'm worried.
I'm actually going to put a bet on through the award-winning Race Post app right now on Dino Blue.
Find out her birthday.
You shouldn't really bet odds on, but
Have we had a winner yet on today?
we have, mate. Yeah, we had Finn
we had Finn and Bull, yeah.
And we also had we had 40 quid on Theatre Glory. So
Well, there you
Race
go. The
Post app
Interjockey's
is
Fund
very
doing business for us.
doing all right today, I tell you. we go.
While Robbie does that, so there you can see. Look how easy that app is to use. Go to Naas, go to the 325. Easy as that. Dino Blue 4 to 5, a couple of minutes before.
I should say as well, it's just so good at spinning through the form here. You know, you can look at sort of pedigree ownership, so the dam
Click
side,
into the
pedigree
side,
comment. Didn't get that before, that's for sure. Scroll down, you got the prize money there. You got the comparison between chase and hurdle form, RPRs, official ratings, distances, weights, everything you need. And this is why you need this app on your side, ladies and gentlemen.
How much are we having on, Rob?
We're gonna have 50 on.
Oh, okay. Around 50.
I'd never go above 50 in this show, but this is the nap of the day for Robbie Wilders.
Gamble responsibly.
And we're on.
£50, Dino Blue, 4 to 5 favourite ahead of Magic Days. JP Manus had winners at Nace there already, should win. Jake Galloway, Ellie Mae did me a big favourite at Cheltenham last year, and I love her, but I think Magic Days will win this one today.
She has one way of going about it, doesn't she, Magic Day? She just lickety split from the front. But you know, with Ellie Mae though, she's a very small petite type, but she's actually a really, really stuffy horse. Hence why she comes good in the spring. But my concern is that we haven't seen her since the 17th of November, probably with then a spring campaign in mind. But she gets better with her races. You wouldn't believe it, but she actually does carry a fair amount of condition on her. So I'd expect her to be better again than come Cheltenham. But she's not one that I want to dismiss on the back of her reappearance start. Won this race last year, as well as the Mares Chase. But when you've got these unexposed, because obviously the Mares Chasers, you've got the novices going into against the senior mares then as well in the Mares Chase. But yeah, she's not one I want to rule out, even on the basis of this result here for the Cheltenham Festival then.
Okay, this is that 325, the Opera Hat one to watch. In this, we'll get the thoughts of the guys very shortly on the Betfair Hurdle. That's going to be our final race of the day. Go for a couple more of your comments on social here. Vortex back in touch. Glory and Fortune wins it 2 years in a row. Anil, Highway 102 is the best each way of the day. And Jake Galloway is with Rubo in the Betfair. Would have a small each way on Glory and Fortune as well. So while this race of the Opera Hat is getting underway, let's get some of the thoughts from the guys on this Betfair Hurdle. 130 favourite. Is he a handicap? Good thing. Filey Bay 130. Rubo 11 to 2. No Ordinary Joe at 8, along with Monviel. Master Chewy 9s. AUCUNRISQUE 10s. Teddy Blue at 11s. AUCUNRISQUE at 12 to 1 and bigger. The remainder, Yorkshire as well as at 12s. Tritonic 16s and 18 and bigger the rest. Kate, start with you. Fresh from a 7 to 1 winner, what are we with here?
Yeah, Yorkshire. I find it very confusing what this market's doing, really, because Yorkshire, like what I originally was looking for with this race is a horse that ran in a graded company last time out, because 4 of the last 5 winners have won in graded company. The only exception to that was when the race was run elsewhere instead. So I can just dismiss that year, really. But so originally I was looking at Tritonic, Highway 102. My concern about Highway 102 is that he's had the hood taken off. He's just going to go lickety-split from the front, and he's going to set it up for a closer. That's what Yorkshire wants. Yorkshire wants a well-run handicap that's going to bring him into it. The Betfair Hurdle, we know when it's run at Newbury, has a very good record for horses that take a lead, don't get into too much trouble. Yes, he only won at Fontwell last time out, a course and distance he clearly likes, but the market prior to that, when he finished behind his stablemate Teddy Blue, was very lukewarm in his chances. All of a sudden it piled in last time. And then the market earlier on in the week was very cool about Teddy Blue, very strong on Yorkshire. That seems to have levelled off now. But Niall Houlihan, the winning machine that is Niall Houlihan on board, Yorkshire for me.
Okay, 16's available there as well. What about yourself, Rob?
I'm going to go... Sorry.
Well, very quickly, though, we're having 2 picks.
Yeah, we are.
So do you want one more?
Oh, my other one's a non-runner.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go Highway 102.
Okay, 2 votes then for Kate. Sorry, Robbie, go on.
Yeah, I'll go 2-pronged Teddy Blue and Favois. Favois would be a bit of a trends buster being an 8-year-old, but just come down to a very good mark, I think, 138. Likes 2 miles, likes a bit of fast ground, going to get a strong pace to aim at. Also, just feel like he was quite an eye catcher on his return on soft ground at Kempton over Christmas, given too much to do that day. He's just a solid mid-140s horse, and he's down to 138, and Dan Skelton's obviously top-notch taking these races out. The other one is Teddy Blue. Second season novice, got the Supreme entry. Pretty well treated off 133 with a £5 claim, had taken 5 off on the form of his second to Night Salute in the Adonis last year. Sorry, watching this Dino Blue race at the same time. And just like his profile, he's quite experienced but quite unexposed at the same time. Gary Moore obviously taken up 3 run-ins in the last 15 years. So yeah, but it's one of those races, isn't it, where in many cases good 10 to 12 of them.
So one for the competition is going to be
Favois,
and yours is going to be
Yorkshire.
Okay. My 2 against the field, I'm going to go with Rubo. Novices have got a pretty good record.
Who's gone there?
Seen there at Nace. Novices have got a good record in the race. Nichols on it with Zarkandar in 2012 and also picked Dorhe in 2020. Rubo could also be winner for Frankel. in the race. The son of Frankel, good luck to Robbie here, and he was impressive on his first 2 starts. Then I think it was no disgrace when beaten by Rare Edition at Kempton last time out. And a bit like Rob, I'm keen on the chances of Teddy Blue. Has the tendency to knock a hurdle out or 2, but Gary Moore 3 wins in the race, and I think Yorksey and Teddy Blue are both worth monitoring in this contest.
To literally take out a hurdle or 2.
The Opera Hat Mare's Chase. It's still Magic Days out in front, but now Dino Blue starts to get rolling. Ellie May, well beaten, disappointing in 4th, but it's Magic Days who leads over the last. Now Dino Blue on the outside. Luke Dempsey starts to get to work, and these two have just about gone on. Magic Days and Dino Blue. Minx Tiara in 3rd. It's Magic Days with the help of the rail, staying on strongly for Rachel Blackmore. Magic Days famous, of course, for that miracle ride at Cheltenham. Magic Days is going to win here. Scores well. Sees off Dino Blue. 3rd, Minx Tiara, and Ellie May, very disappointing. But Rob Court, another good winner for them. Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore team up. 9-4 winner, Magic Days.
It was 20 to 150 in one place there prior to today for the Mare's Chase Magic Days.
Yeah, big price. 50 to 1 with Unibet, that is so interesting to see. Magic Days, see how the market changes after that performance. Reminder, your 7-4 favourites for the Mare's Chase are Impervious and Allegory Devassi. A word on Filey Bay, Rob. Emmett Mullins.
Yeah.
I thought an interesting quote I heard yesterday was Paul Byrne was very reluctant to sell Filey Bay. Of course, he sold the likes of the Shunter before to
Noble
JP.
Yates as well. He sold, didn't he?
Noble Yates to the Quadey Kearns, but apparently JP made him an offer he couldn't refuse. This race is the 1-3-1. It's been the plan for a long time. What do you make of the favourites' chances?
Yeah, it's hard to weigh up this horse, isn't it? I feel like Emmett Mullins' horses are very much on the bet nowadays. I know he's got a good strike rate in Britain, but you're looking at his form thinking, how's he sort of 3-1 chance here? Like I mean, the Wincanton run's worked out quite well. He's done nothing on RPRs that suggests he's quite as good as his mark. He is unexposed. He's older than a typical winner, but I don't know, he's just so hard to weigh up. It's just, in a race like this, you try and look away from a horse around 7-2, don't you? Look for something bigger with all the each way terms.
Okay. That's Filey Bay. Another couple to mention, Kate, towards the top of the market. AUCUNRISQUE has come in for a bit of support, back over hurdles. And one who has been well touted in a number of places is Master Chewy. He was second at Plumpton last night. He cost 300,000, but has yet to really fire over hurdles, but could be unexposed off 1-2-4.
He could be, but I just can't trust him to get his head in front because, you know, when he fell at Ascot, he had the race at his mercy at that point and then he fell and you sort of thought, God, that was so unlucky. He's definitely going to go on and win his next start. Then second again to Attica, who's still like a smart horse in his own right at Cheltenham. But last time out, to go to Plumpton and to be overturned as a 4-7 favourite, it's just begging a few questions. And his mark of 1-2-4 may well leave him unexposed and still with plenty of potential. But, I mean, in a normal year, that mark may not even get you into this race. So it kind of goes to show that it's maybe just being dragged down a little bit this year's renewal. AUCUNRISQUE, very interesting, Chris Gordon, how they're going to ride him because he's got 2 out-and-out front runners, AUCUNRISQUE and Highway 102. I think from an interview earlier on in the week, they said that they're going to try and take a lead with AUCUNRISQUE here. Now, he's a horse where we saw his improvement coming over fences, but I think that he has been able to, I think it's just natural improvement rather than for improving over fences as such. So, yeah, back down here onto a mark of 138, this race may well set up well for him.
Okay, not long until the off then for this Betfair Hurdle, but before that, here's an advert, so you should definitely get involved in. 50% off for the first 3 months of the Members Club. The Betfair Hurdle, just a couple of your comments on social. Anil likes Highway 102 in Yorksey. Tom Leach, Master Chewy, 16-1, I'm on. Bubba thinks he's got no chance, and Chris Timms likes Yorksey, Teddy Blue and Monvielle. Quickly, Rob, we like Teddy Blue.
We like Teddy Blue. The fact that there's 2 of us in unison agreeing we're going to have £15 each way on the award-winning Race Post app at 10 to 1. Place bet a bosh.
Trophy is up for goods at the moment. It's up for grabs. Kate Tracey out in front at the moment on 20. 17 for me and 16 for Robbie. Who is going to come out on top?
Close.
In the final.
Right, so for the sake of this, I'm Favois.
I think you've got to accept the odds they're telling me.
Oh, telling me. Yeah, we'll accept them. Why not? That's even better. Cheers, producers.
Very good. 6 places paying as well.
Happy days. Right, so but my main one is actually Favois.
Yeah, mine's
Just for the sake
Rubo.
of this competition, you're Rubo and Kate, you're
Yorksea.
Yorksea. Okay, so
Don't worry,
all
signing
up
up.
for- so basically, yeah, anything can happen here, can't it? I need Teddy Blue. I need a Favois to win though to have any chance.
Rubo, big drifter. Late 5 to 1 out to 9 to 1. I'm seeing here 11 to 2 available there. Bigger price on the likes of Betfair and elsewhere. But Filey Bay 130 favourite. Rubo, No Ordinary Joe and Monvielle 8 to 1 for the latter two. Bigger prices about Master Chewy. AUCUNRISQUE at 10s. Teddy Blue at 10s. AUCUNRISQUE at 12s. We haven't even mentioned Woody Mullins' runner here. AUCUNRISQUE didn't run against Gaelic Warrior at Leopardstown last time out. Connections have decided to be pitched in here. Highway 102 at 18s. And Yorksea at 18s as well. Good luck to Kate with Yorksea. Favois for Robbie. And I'm going to be with Rubo. But Teddy Blue, another we
There
like.
we go.
Off at the first time.
Happy days.
I prefer where Tritonic is now that they've jumped off.
16 runners then for the 2023 £150,000 Betfair Hurdle, and it's AUCUNRISQUE who lands in front at the first. Glory and Fortune, the defending champion, is at the back. AUCUNRISQUE and Rubo, who looks lit up, which is a bit of a concern. Then in one of the McManus colours is No Ordinary Joe. Teddy Blue, Restitution, Highway 102, AUCUNRISQUE and Filey Bay, also prominent. Master Chewy on the inside. And Monvielle is another one who's trying to be prominent, along with Glorious Zoff. Glorious Zoff is putting quite hard on the outside. In terms of your picks, Robbie, start with you. You happy enough?
Yeah, Favois plenty wide, about 7 wide. Is it scoring in a bit of ground there? But Teddy Blue looks like settling better than is often the case, doesn't he, Dan?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big one. And obviously, you would keep an eye on his jumping as well. What about your selection, Yorksea?
Oh, I'm delighted I've fallen back in the field. Chris Gordon pulling the wool over all of our eyes with his interview earlier on the week. He sort of said that Highway 102 was going to go forwards, give a lead to AUCUNRISQUE, who's going to be held up. Look where AUCUNRISQUE is, out in front, jumping well. Highway 102 lined up further out and is happy to take the lead then, but I'm delighted Yorksea has drifted further back. That's where I wanted him. Yeah, your lad, Teddy Blue, like I say, he has settled now. I've never seen a horse stick his nose in the air quite as much as that and outwards, but he has settled a lot better now.
First real slight little mistake from Teddy Blue, but it's Glorious Zoff, who was absolutely zooming on the outside on the right. But it's still out in front, AUCUNRISQUE. Teddy Blue is prominent. Then is Highway 102. So the Gordon runners coming to the fore. Then you can see the McManus Silks. First off, of Filey Bay, AUCUNRISQUE and No Ordinary Joe all together. Rubo on the rail, pulling quite hard under Harry Cobden earlier in the race, has settled a bit better now. Little mistake there from AUCUNRISQUE in the back of the field, being nudged along now as well. Glory and Fortune creeping into contention on the outside. Yorksea towards the back, along with Monvielle and Master Chewy. Favois struggling at this stage.
Yeah, he's in deep trouble, isn't he? I'm going to be resigning from winning this trophy this week, I'm afraid. Between you two.
Yeah, I think I'm in enough trouble as well.
Yorksea now being pushed along as well. So a couple of them getting tapped for toe a little bit here. Master Chewy and Monvielle, a couple at the back of the field as well, along with one more for the road. But out in front, AUCUNRISQUE has sent a merry gallop and is still out in front here with Glorious Zoff. Teddy Blue travelling really nicely in third. Rob?
Yeah, you'd have to be quite encouraged at the moment, but there's still a good 10 of them on the bridle also, so I won't be getting carried away just yet.
Filey Bay now moves into fourth, the favourite, travelling strongly. Still on the rail is No Ordinary Joe, and then Rubo. AUCUNRISQUE looks beaten for Woody Mullins at this stage. Glory and Fortune now trying to make a move, along with Master Chewy. But Yorksea, AUCUNRISQUE and Monvielle all look beaten. Favois pulled up. It's still AUCUNRISQUE out in front. Teddy Blue now prominent in second. Then a gap back to Filey Bay and one more for the road. Rubo is now creeping into contention as well, but it's still AUCUNRISQUE out in front. Been a fine front running ride so far from Nick Schofield. Here come the battalions though. First off is Filey Bay on the outside. Ahead of as well, No Ordinary Joe. Rubo trying to get into contention for Harry Cobden. Look at Filey Bay, he's cruising. Comes in out to try and take it up along with AUCUNRISQUE. A mistake at the second
fair
last
guessy
from
at that.
Filey Bay. Teddy Blue is in third. Still AUCUNRISQUE Risk out in front for Chris Gordon. Filey Bay now more serious in the saddle is Donna Naylor. As they come to the last, they're split by the separates of the track. They land together, AUCUNRISQUE and Filey Bay. Who's going to come out on top here? Emmett Mullins' charge goes towards the near side rail. AUCUNRISQUE, a furlong to go. AUCUNRISQUE is gained out in front. Filey Bay now rallying. They've got the width for the track between them. AUCUNRISQUE looks to be in front. Filey Bay in second. What a performance this is from AUCUNRISQUE, who's still out in front. Filey Bay trying to rally. They come towards the line. AUCUNRISQUE
Oh, good ride.
A fantastic front-running performance to see off the favourite Filey Bay, and then at Gary Moore 3 and 4. Teddy Blue and
we got the each-way money for Teddy Blue.
AUCUNRISQUE though, cracking performance, back over hurdles. He was ultra progressive, won the Dovecote last year, 7 from 5 now over Timber for Chris Gordon's charge. Filey Bay, the favourite, held every chance, but Chris Gordon delivers.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? We were saying beforehand, I heard the interview with Chris Gordon earlier on in the week. It sounded like Highway 102 is going to do what he does, go from the front. We know AUCUNRISQUE does as well, but he sort of said, well, we might just take a lead with him and ride him differently, and we'll have one at either end of the pace. Yeah, AUCUNRISQUE then goes forward and makes such a well-judged ride by Nick Schofield, who's had a bit of a stop-start time of things through injury of late as well, but we know how good he is. And there looked to be so much pace on in this race, yet he didn't really get that much pace pressure, you wouldn't have said throughout that. A few of those were quite keen as well in behind, so they obviously didn't go the crazy gallop from what we've seen of that anyway. And then despite lugging away to his left in the closing stages, Nick Schofield trying to get him straight with the backhand there, but yet he's still managed to prevail, and he's even had the time to have a cheeky look across the track to see exactly where Filey Bay was.
Good performance from AUCUNRISQUE, who was prominent throughout, set a decent tempo. Teddy Blue and Yorksey staying on from the back. Filey Bay, no real excuses for the Fav, Rob?
Not really, mate, no. I mean, he's run really well. He's proved that he was certainly ahead of his mark, but a really likeable performance from AUCUNRISQUE. He gives his heart out. He's been chasing, excellent bit of placing by Chris Gordon, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, AUCUNRISQUE looked well handicapped, off 1.38 back over hurdles, having been running over fences, second to Boot Hill in graded company last time out in December. But a very good effort from AUCUNRISQUE. Where do connections go now, would you think?
County, would you not go off of that mark if he's got that much in hand?
I
know like you can go to the Champion Hurdle, but this isn't really a normal year for a Champion Hurdle, seeing as we've got a bit of a freak in it. We've had weaker renewals of the Champion Hurdle recently, so, what would he get for that? I don't know. But yeah, so County, would you go on the back of that if he's still that well treated, considering he's still doing enough wrong in the closing stages? I would be very, very tempted.
I think definitely a target. For me, the screamer, as you've said already, is Yorksey. I mean, even at this...
Yeah, I didn't know.
He's fourth,
have you flagged that up?
10th at the last, and he stays on strongly, Rob.
Yeah, very eye-catching, yeah. I couldn't believe when I saw him pass the line fourth. It was him and Favois in trouble first of all, but yeah, 2.5 miles, let's see it.
Yeah, Monvielle as well. Those two staying on from the back of the field look well beaten at one stage, Yorksey and Monvielle, but they stay on well. But good performance in the end from AUCUNRISQUE, who sees off Filey Bay, Teddy Blue and Yorksey. That's your 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's Newbury and Warwick completed for another Saturday here on Racing Post Live, and delighted to say, well, I've let Dave down first, but first off, trophy presentation.
Trophy presentation.
Kate Tracey.
I'll give it the whole big one.
Yeah, go on. 20 points for Kate, 17 for myself, and Robbie in third. But we'll come back stronger, won't we, Rob?
Yeah, we'll be back, mate, for sure. Can't keep a pair of good gentlemen down.
Very good stuff today. AUCUNRISQUE wins the feature £155,000 Betfair Hurdle as Kate takes a selfie.
Don't mind me.
Trophy. There's some good performances in defeat. John Bond, of course, was the star of the day. Nicky Henderson saying we learned a bit, and Aidan Coleman also reflecting that there was stuff to work on. So interesting to see how he now gets on in the Arkle, taking on El Fabiolo. Thanks very much for your company today. Thanks to Kate and Robbie. Thanks very much, guys.
So much.
Good job, Dan.
Great.
See you
Very
soon.
good job.
Big shoes to fill. Did very well.
Dave will be back with you next week. Some good more action all the way building up to the Cheltenham Festival. Just 4 weeks to go now until the greatest show on earth. Thanks very much for your company as well on the social, and we look forward to seeing you next week here on Racing Post Live.